Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there. Sure. Yeah. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here, based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Rocket Money. It's the start of a new year. It's the perfect time to get organized, set your goals, prioritize what matters most. And for me, top priority is getting myself together here. Financial wellness, doing that, which that feels important, just feels like adult stuff that you have to do. And thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable now. They show me all my subscriptions in one place, help me easily cancel ones I forgot that I've been paying for, which happened to me, absolutely happened to me. For years, I was paying for something. I was like, what is going on here? Rocket Money found it and saved me lots of money since then, because it's been a while. So they did a great job here. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder today. That's rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder. rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Welch's can't make everything make sense. Like why your mom still listens to the radio or what she meant when she sent that emoji. But a zero sugar drink that's still full of fruit flavor, we made that make sense. And strawberry, passion fruit, Concord grape, and more. You gotta sip it to get it. New Welch's Zero Sugar. Let's fruit stuff up.
This week, in Valley City, North Dakota, everyone is a suspect when a young woman is found horribly murdered. Was it the boyfriend, an ex, the town drifter, the local weirdo? Everyone ends up being surprised by the answer. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on a crazy edition of Small Town Murder. As usual, this is one of those today where it's a real whodunit, and then they find out who done it. And it's man, does it open up a huge rabbit hole that you're pulling all sorts of gross stuff out of. Wait till you see. It's a lot, but we will get to that. Definitely first, though, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Right now, I would suggest get your tickets to live shows. They are for sale for the rest of 2024, and there are already 2 sold out and a couple getting close. So get your tickets right now. Sacramento, April 5th. San Francisco, April 6th. You are up first. Right. You're on deck. Get those tickets. And Minneapolis, if you sell this venue out, will be our biggest show ever. Can't wait for that. So up till now, it was Chicago. Yeah. But you can do it. When people ask us, what's your biggest show ever? We can say Minneapolis if you do this. So come on, represent Minnesota and bring it strong. Thank you so much for doing that. And get your tickets right now, like we said. Shutupandgivememurder.com. Also coming for sale, February 22nd.
Oh, boy.
boy.
Oh, baby, that is the day they go on sale. Virtual live show, 420 virtual live show. It is going to be awesome. We cannot wait. Get your tickets right now. Crazy murder story, plus costumes, plus crazy weed smoking apparatus to freak Jimmie out. He'll smoke out of anyway because he's a trooper. It's going to be a lot of fun. Get those tickets. They are coming out on the 22nd, like we said. Do that. Patreon.com/CrimeInSports is where you get all of the bonus material. So much bonus material. Anybody $5 a month or above, a cup of coffee. Come on.
It's crazy affordable.
It's so affordable. You're going to get so much more than a cup of coffee. You're going to get immediately a couple hundred back episodes of bonus stuff that you've never seen if you don't have Patreon. And then new stuff every other week. One crime in sports, one small town murder. You get it all, everybody.
Right.
This week, what you're going to get for crime in sports, we're going to talk about a mobster who owned a football team. So that's a lot of fun. A guy named Paul Sasso. He owned a World Football League team, and he was just he's a gangster. It's hilarious. And then for small town murder, we're going to talk about Natalia Grace, the Ukrainian orphan who might have been 6 or 45 or who knows how old she is. And, based on what, maybe she's a murderer, maybe she's just a poor little girl. We don't know. All we do know is we do know. We'll talk about it. All we do know, though, is that the father makes tears pop from his eyes like they're shooting out of a cannon. It's a very weird thing. Check all that out and more. Patreon.com/CrimeInSports. And you get a shout out at the end of the show where Jimmie will go ahead and mess your name up for you, even though he wants to get it correct. That said,
for you.
He will do. That's the Jimmie Whisman promise. He'll try, but it still fail. That's good. That said, it's disclaimer time.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, everybody, two things. Number one, the stories are as real as they get, insanely real. Every detail is real. Number two, we're stand-up comics. We're gonna make jokes. It's how
for sure.
It's how we operate in life, and it's how we get through things. And for us, I think that makes the dark stuff a little bit more palatable at that point. I don't want to hear anybody darkly. Then he cut her head off. That sounds creepy. I like let's try to lighten it up a little bit. But we don't make jokes. Thing that we do, we don't make jokes about the victim or the victim's family.
Why, James?
Because we're assholes.
Yeah, but
we're not scumbags. So that's how that works. Definitely here. Yeah, there's a lot to make fun of besides the murder itself is never funny, but the stuff around it of I think I can get away with murder, that's hilarious. So
that's wild.
There you go. So if that sounds good to you, I think it's time, everybody, to sit back. What do you say here? Sit back. Let's all clear the lungs and let's all shout. Shut up and give me murder. There we go, everybody. Let's go on a trip, shall we?
Let's move it.
Let's do this. Oh, by the way, have to remind you, the Apple Podcast thing. Apple Podcast did an update where your shows don't automatically download anymore. So click it. You go on the actual show page on your Apple Podcast, and on the upper right-hand corner is the arrow and the fucking ... and you'll see, and it'll say automatically download.
That'll bring you new shows.
There you go. That'll get you new shows to your phone or wherever you're listening. Here you are. We're going to North Carolina, North Dakota, everybody. Not North Carolina. North to Carolina. You'd have to be in Florida or somewhere like that. This is in southeastern North Dakota.
Okay.
North Dakota, not a lot going on there.
No?
This is a hard state. This is like our 4th or 5th North Dakota episode we've ever done. That's how few and far between, because they don't even have a lot of murders. Yeah. And the murders they do have are in like the one city they have. So it's
we just were in South Dakota. Is that true?
A while back, yeah. We're in South Dakota. They have a few more, but it's still it's rough going out there. Yeah. There, Montana, Wyoming, difficult to find murders. Wyoming has like 12 murders a year in the whole state. So
is that right?
Yeah, and most of them are not like show worthy. That interesting of a crazy tale or anything. So
Arizona's got those every week.
Oh God, Jesus, Phoenix has you could pick an area of Phoenix and it'll have those. So this is about an hour to Fargo and about 2 hours to Bismarck, North Dakota, which was our last North Dakota episode 412, the Bloody Basement Breakfast Club, which was fun. Yeah. That was the kids hanging out at the Scum House there. Then this is in Barnes County, area code 701. Motto here, or more like a nickname, is the City of Bridges.
Oh, well.
I think Pittsburgh has that covered, right? Isn't that there?
I think they're done.
City of Champions, City of Bridges.
They've
got. If you drive, it's impossible to not drive in Pittsburgh and go, holy shit, there's a lot of bridges. Like No one ever drove and went, oh, yeah, I didn't notice all the bridges. It's they're like 8 feet away from each other. You could jump from one bridge to the next in Pittsburgh.
And they go to the same places.
Every street crosses the river. It's insane. It's so weird. So history here, this city was established in 1874, Valley City was. They built a railroad station, so now it's a place. That's what you had to do. The town was originally named Worthington.
Oh, yeah.
After the town's promoter. I guess, come on over to this town. We got a railroad.
Got a Don King there?
Yeah, they had a Vince McMahon there. All jacked up. Everybody, come to North Dakota, everybody. Come on. Take your shirt off. Let's see what
he does. Morning radio in neighboring markets.
Your pecs. Yeah, let's see those pecs. Oh, baby. So this is
promoter
George Worthington.
Okay.
It's in a valley, so then they just changed it to Valley City. So makes it nice and easy. Yeah. They had a post office named Worthington in 1874, but then they changed it to Valley City in 1878, and that's what they have been here. Okay. They opened the Carnegie Library because there was a bunch of Carnegie libraries because Carnegie's, they donated a bunch of money to build a bunch of libraries.
Yeah, when you're that rich, you got to bury that money somewhere.
Need some write-offs, I would imagine, if you're a robber baron.
Jesus.
You're literally a robber baron. Like, they just take all your shit from you.
It's a fascinating man because there's Carnegie Hall and then there's the guy Carnegie. So what the fuck? How are we pronouncing your name, sir?
I think we all just decided that we're all, since you're going national, we're going Carnegie. We're not gonna hit your emphasis if you're going national. Locally, you can push people, but once you get out in the sticks, it is what it is. They're gonna call you what they call you.
You can bully people.
You can if you're that rich. Be like, listen, okay, it's Carnegie, thank you. But once you're talking about people in North Dakota, they're like Carnegie, and that's what it is. They don't know who the fuck that guy is.
They also call it Carnegie Mellon. Is that right? Is that the
same? I don't know if that's the same person.
Is that the college?
I mean, like I said, he donated so many endowments to do all this, so maybe that makes sense. Anyway, Carnegie Library opened in 1903, and through the efforts of a local women's organization called the Tuesday Club, they got a library here.
On Tuesdays we wear pink.
Interesting. Tuesdays we're going to read. The inception of the nation's first barber association occurred in Valley City during a state barber convention in 1909. Every barber there, they formed an association, I guess, so you could be that way. You'd know if the barber was half decent, if he was a member of the association. Because probably before licensing, I can't imagine.
Oh yeah,
they had barber licenses
tons of people
back then.
Fucking your head up.
Oh, it destroy your head, which is neat because I have tons of barbering in my family, so that's interesting. One famous person from here, and that's Peggy Lee.
Who's Peggy Lee?
An old country lady, an old country singer.
Peggy Lee?
From like the 40s or something.
Fuck, I don't know.
Well, we'll get to it when we get to things to do because there's a Peggy Lee Day, so we'll find out. Reviews of this town, let's find out here. 5 stars. Valley City is a nice town to live in. Okay. It is close to many lakes for fishing and other recreational activities.
Yeah, that's what you do up there. It's a lot of outdoor.
You could have probably saved that 5-star review and just went and spent time with your kids instead, because that seems it is a nice town. It's close to lakes for we get that there's fish in lakes and we know where the town is located, so we didn't need your help there. 4 stars. I want opinions, not, give me something subjective here.
Give me something to chew on.
4 stars. Being a Minnesotan, I am in love with North Dakota weather. That's the only time anyone's ever said that. The snow and intense winter is great! !
What?
Intense winter is great. I love it when it's 38 below zero. That's awesome.
Fucking blizzards are beautiful.
It gets so far below zero there. It is disturbing how far below zero it is. It's like, it's dangerous.
From Minnesota, I feel like I could die here.
If you're outside too long, you will die. That's dangerous cold. That's not good. Although I am definitely a minority in this thinking, I love the weather in my area. The only problem is the sub-zero temperatures. Well, then you don't love the intense winter. Right. That's intense winter. When it's 20, that's just normal winter. That's fine.
And I love cold. I am a big fan of winter
until it gets to
fall,
about 15, and then I'm not a fan anymore.
When I turn my faucet on and nothing comes out, that's
too
fucked
cold.
up.
I'm okay with above 15 or below about 82. About 83 degrees, I start to get a little grumpy. That's when
water's not happening.
Like it.
No.
Wow. But you get used to it after a while. Or you could move someplace that doesn't get sub-zero. That's another option. Here's 2 stars. In my opinion, there are only 2 good eat-out joints in town, which is a hilarious way to say that.
Gross.
2 good eat-out joints. I go to others and I'm like, I went down on a few broads, but it wasn't what I was expecting. These 2, on the other hand, top notch. 5 stars to the 2 stars for the town, 5 stars for the eat-out joints.
A little tangy. I liked it.
You know what the eat-out joints are called? He tells us in the next sentence.
Oh, what are they?
Pizza Ranch. Pizza Ranch.
Gross.
Have you ever heard of pizza coming from a ranch? You ever see a big fat guy named Tony going, come over to my ranch and I'm going to cook you up a couple of pies on the barbecue? That's never happened before. I'll smoke you a couple of pies. Don't worry about it.
Never seen a guy on a horse go, hey, cowpokes, come on over for some damn nice pies.
It's pizza night, y'all. I've never heard. No.
Hey, y'all, it's pizza night.
On the ranch. Pizza Ranch and City Lights Supper Club, which sounds fancy.
Yeah.
Sounds like you got to put a tie on to go there. Other than these 2 restaurants, there aren't any high-quality or fancy restaurants to eat at. Pizza Ranch is considered a high-quality, fancy restaurant. It's Valentine's Day, baby. Put your best dress on. Taking you to the Pizza Ranch. What the hell is happening? I am under the age of 21, so I cannot comment on the bars in town. Although there are roughly 6 to 8 bars in town, I have not been to any of these.
6 to 8 bars, and we got 2 good restaurants.
2 restaurants.
They are,
Their
Minnesotans are welcome. Yeah.
Their priorities are in order. That's
you betcha.
There is a pretty good variety in Valley City for restaurants, but still I usually travel to Fargo for my favorite restaurants.
Oh.
Worth an hour drive. 2 stars. We have as many bars as we do churches. That's good. You got to keep it even.
Hell yeah, keep them honest.
Yeah. We have 2 chain restaurants and are supposedly adding a 3rd.
Oh, one of these days. Hotel.
Yeah, I'm not sure. This person here, 1 star, there are virtually no tourist attractions. Yeah, it's North Dakota. North Dakota is one of the least visited tourist destinations because of our lack of attractions. Yeah, obviously. You don't have anything to see.
Right, people go to North Dakota for the outdoor shit. They don't go there for anything else.
To look at shit yeah. The largest attraction is 5 hours from our local area and located in the western part of the state. The only close attraction is 30 miles away, and it's the world's largest buffalo and 3 albino buffaloes.
And one day those won't be there.
No, they're going to try. I don't know if they're stuffed. Are they stuffed?
I don't know.
You can't just depend on. Don't buffaloes wander? Don't they look
3
around?
3 albinos?
They can't last out in the sun by themselves. I feel like they're probably stuffed.
No, buffalo roam. That's in a song.
What I mean.
Where
the buffalo roam is. Yeah.
They move around a lot.
I said, don't they roam? Where they move around?
Yeah.
People in this town, population 6,586. Which
seems like a lot.
Seems like a lot, but there's nothing around it. It's just like these towns are plunked in the middle of nowhere on the highway, so they're far away. The next thing is an hour over.
So 6,500 people trying to make it.
Yeah, there's a college here too, so that's another part of why there's even that many people. A few more males than females actually, which is not normal. Median age is a couple years above the average, but nothing crazy. It's about 40. A lot of people 18 to 20 years old here because of the college, I assume.
Yeah.
It's the only way. It's like a very high percentage of the people. Only 41% married, which is under the national average.
Sure.
Race in this town, it's North Dakota. I think you can guess that pretty easily. 91% white, 1.3% black, 0.8% Asian, 1.8% Native American, 2.5% Hispanic. Religion in this town, much higher than the national average, which is about 50-50. Here it's 64%. So pretty high. And the vast majority, I mean by a long shot, 34% are Lutherans.
Is that right?
It is Lutherans and more Lutherans up there. So yeah, 0.0%
religious as
Jewish.
Fuck.
Yeah, Minnesota's the same way. Lutherans up there. I know that from Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
the Women's Lutheran Gun Club and all that kind of shit. In this town here, last election, Barnes County, I should say, 32.7% Democrat, 64.1% Republican, 3.2% Independent. Unemployment rate here is under 4%. So. Not bad, I would say. Median household income here, though, is less than the national average. It's about $54,000, about $15,000 under the national average. But cost of living, good news,
hell yeah,
it's pretty low. Average is 100. Here it's 75. So
yeah,
not bad. Housing, though, median home cost here. Median home cost is $163,400.
Fucking great.
Which is pretty damn affordable. And
dollar stretches.
If you don't mind an intense winter. And you are just hankering to have a little something from the Pizza Ranch. We have for you.
Need water.
You don't need it. We have for you the Valley City, North Dakota Real Estate Report. The average 2-bedroom rental here goes for about $850 a month, which is well cheaper than the national average. That's not bad. Here is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,760 square foot house. It's kind of ugly. I mean, it's not.
It's big for 2-1. That's not
bad.
Yeah,
it's got some good, decent living space. Needs some work inside.
Sure.
Needs to be updated. It's like I said. It's kind of, you look at it and you go, you got nothing to be that excited about. But the price of it, if you're a young family or something, not bad. $93,500.
Doable. Yeah.
So that's what I mean. You can work on it as you go if you're looking for something. It's just outdated, that's all. Here's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath T-bowl for each and every B-hull.
Hell yeah.
2,225 square feet.
There you go.
It's a nice house. My only complaint about it, it's built in 1906, which is nice. It has like nice old woodwork. They didn't tear down the moldings and shit like that, which is cool. Only thing I would say is it's crammed into this little neighborhood where you don't really have a lot of room. You're kind of on top of the next house. The yards are right on top of each other. So there's no, if I move to North Dakota, I want some space.
Yeah.
Like there's no other reason to live there unless you want some space.
We got to open it up a little, for sure.
Yeah, it's not bad though. It's nice inside. Too much wallpaper for my taste, but that's okay. $265,000, which is still
great.
Well under the national average and pretty decent here. Then here's 5-bedroom, 2-bath. 3,104 square feet. It's on an acre. It's nice. It's big, I guess. It's not bad. Not that spectacular either, though. It's nothing that you're like, oh my God, look at this amazing thing. It's nice, but $524,900 for that, though.
Holy.
That's an acre, so you got a little room to breathe there. That's not bad.
Only an acre.
Only an acre, though. It's the thing. It's not like anything crazy. Things to do here. Okay.
Here we go.
Here's the big one. The North Dakota Winter Show. It's in March, so it's tail end of winter. But in there, that's still pretty winter.
We got to get outside. We've been inside we've been inside for 6 months.
It's up to about 14 outside, so we should really head on out.
Let's get out there and party.
Let's get out there and move around. The North Dakota Winter Show is home to the oldest and longest running agriculture show in North Dakota.
Okay.
All right. It is held every March, and it attracts exhibitors and visitors from numerous states as well as Canada. Yeah. Show features a rodeo, a country concert, livestock shows, a craft show, an old-time tractor pull.
In March.
Is that with horses, an old-time tractor pull?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 2 guys up there pulling it.
That's where you just get out there and grab a hold of a tractor and pull on it.
That's what I mean. It's 2 guys pulling it with leather straps around their waists or something.
That's the tug of war.
Free stage entertainment, so that must be great.
Yeah,
that's got to be
stuff.
wonderful. I have their schedule. They kick off here. They have a kickoff concert on Saturday, March 2nd, with Easton Corbin.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You know who that is? Okay, so his name's in big letters, so I figured that people might know who he is. Mikkel Buck?
Never.
Michael or McKelly, I'm not sure if it's... And Zach Thomas. They're grouped together. Those
the
two.
guy from the Bears?
Buck and Thomas. Yeah, the old Dolphin middle linebacker. That's what we're talking about.
That's it.
Yeah, the Dolphin middle linebacker, Zach Thomas. A little short, but a little undersized, but boy, he could put a popping on. You don't worry about it.
Hear him on that banjo.
Absolutely. There's a Milwaukee tool demo going on.
Hell yeah.
There we go. Come look at the new tools.
Come see our new Sawzall.
Then at 1, there's a tractor pull. Then at 6, there's a truck pull. So those are different.
Oh.
We usually pick one or the other. How many pulls are you going to have?
We got a car pull next year.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. The horse team events are going to be there. There's a pony pull. I assume it's if you're pulling a pony.
Tractor pulling?
A draft horse pull.
Yeah.
And a ranch rodeo and Calcutta. I don't know what the fuck that is.
What's a Calcutta?
Beats me.
That's a country.
I don't know. Queen contest horsemanship also.
Yeah.
Queen contest fashion show. And then an interview and a brunch. And then they crown in the coronation on Saturday, March 9th.
Jesus.
They crown the queen of the fair, I guess, here.
Fuck.
That's not bad. And then there's a bid call auctioneers contest to round it out.
Hilariously, around the country, we do fairs around fall because that's like the harvest. They have to wait until fucking March.
Oh yeah, they have. It's been frozen since October. So Peggy Lee Day is another thing they have.
Yeah.
And she is celebrate her, learn more about her music. I thought so. I thought she was an old country broad.
I don't know her.
Old country gal, I think, Peggy Lee, from like the 40s, if I'm not mistaken.
Fascinating.
Like old school, and her radio career and how it all started in Valley City. So just go hear about some lady that you've never even heard of. That's a lot of fun. A crime rate in this town. All right, property crime is right at the average.
Okay.
Which the only thing I could think is because it's a college town, so you're going to get drinking in public and pissing in an alley and two idiots, being idiots in the street, disorderly conduct and dumb shit.
The alcohol crimes,
And then violent crime, though, murder, rape, robbery, and, of course, assault. The Mount Rushmore of crime is about 1/3 below the national average.
Okay,
so that's where you'd expect a small town to be.
Yeah.
And that, even with a college, because in a college you're going to get, obviously, your rapes and your fights in the street because two idiots are drunk and they're fighting over a girl because one guy just tried to rape her or something because they're college kids and
somebody got punched and then hit their head on the way down and they're dead and now that guy's going to jail for murder and all he wanted to do was teach him a lesson about you don't rape girls.
Yeah, because it's God, I'm so happy. I'm so happy to not be in college. I'm
so glad I didn't go.
Yeah, I would have been terrible anyway. So that said, let's talk about some murder here. All right.
Okay.
All right. Let's start out with we'll talk about a nice couple here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Eunice, I guess would be her name. Eunice and Larry Morgenstern. Okay. Morgenstern. They have one child, natural, just, he puts it in her and she spits it out. And then, how kids work.
Yeah.
That's how I explained it to my children, by the way. Daddy, where do babies come from?
It's kind of like a vending machine.
You drop one in her, she spits it out. Okay, and then they went off into the world. So
let's go over to the vending machine, and I'll show you how this works.
Show you how this is.
This, and then you got M&Ms. Enjoy.
Imagine this quarter was gross. Okay, now put it in the slot.
Yeah.
So they adopt 3 kids.
What?
They're big into adopting because they thought they couldn't have kids for a long time. They couldn't have kids, actually. They ended up during the adoption process of their oldest, Michael.
Yeah.
Here, that's when Eunice found out she was pregnant, and they're in the middle of adopting a kid because they couldn't have kids.
Holy!
So I've actually heard of. I know somebody else that happened to.
Really?
A guy, him and his wife, for years they tried. He went and got all these treatments, all this crazy shit. Both of them, all these fertility things, couldn't get pregnant. Started the adoption process, and like a week before it was finished, they were pregnant. They were like, Jesus Christ! But
now
they were happy.
2.
Yeah, they were fine with it because he was wealthy, so he was okay with it. But
he wanted this.
Yeah. So Michael was 2.5 when they brought him in, their oldest, and then they have Rebecca is the child that Eunice actually delivers here.
Birthed,
and then they have April as well, another child that they adopt, and then Mindy as well, another child they adopt.
Okay, so they adopted 2 girls and a boy, and then had their own.
And had their own girl. Yeah. So altogether, 3 girls and a boy. I had it right the first time.
You were there,
and I was there, and I second guessed myself. Damn it! So that's how that goes. They live in New Salem, North Dakota, which is a couple hours away from here, 2.5 hours away from Valley City. And Mindy they adopted from Columbia, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, and they also adopted April from Bogota as well.
Oh, really?
So they adopt Colombian kids. Yeah, that's the thing here. They decided after they had the first 2 They waited about 10 years. They had their adopted kid and the kid they had, and they waited about 10 years, and they decided to let's get more kids in here. Let's adopt more kids. They couldn't have any more kids, I guess, after the one. They only had the one. So they adopt April from Bogota, and then they found out that April had a biological sister who also needed an adoptive family.
Is that Mindy?
That would be Mindy. So she said they said, they were so happy with that because they didn't want to split siblings up, obviously. It's bad enough. So she said they went to Colombia to go see Mindy, who was their youngest, April's biological sister. She was then 4.5 months old when they saw her.
Brand new.
Which is a great age, 4.5 months, because they can't move around yet. You can put them somewhere and they'll stay there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They won't end up on the other side of the house. But they're like awake and alert and shit. Because when they're like a month old, they're no fun. They don't even barely see things.
Yeah,
they're lame. They have no sense of humor.
This baby's also made it for 120 days, so it's probably fine.
It's probably fine. But you can, you do peekaboo and they'll fucking laugh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You do that to a month-old kid and they're like, they just look at you. They have no idea what's going on. So this is a fun age before they start getting ambulatory.
They spit everywhere.
Spitting and puking. Eunice said she saw Mindy and said, quote, she was all eyes and a big smile. And she remains that way. She's a very happy kid, Mindy. Everybody's happy, outgoing, really upbeat, and a lot of energy and that sort of thing. Now, they raised this brood of children on a farm. Yeah. They had a farm. So they're like, we have this big farm and stuff. We have plenty of room for kids. Let's get kids that need to be adopted.
Are they working the farm?
Yeah, no, they work the farm.
Wow.
Like they have a big working farm that they do, and so it's pretty cool. I mean, it's nice of them to do that. Honestly, they have the room, they could afford it, they have the time. They said, sure. Not to mention, a little help on the farm. I mean,
an extra. Many hands make light work, I've heard.
Yeah. Why do you think the Amish try to have so many kids?
Right.
You need to. Just a lot of fucking work to be done. Get your asses out there and put that barn up, you know?
These fireplaces aren't going to build themselves.
They're not going to, or clean themselves or any of that shit. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So that's how this goes. And they raised the kids on the farm. This farm was in the family. It's
an old farm.
This is Dad Larry's mother grew up on this farm.
Wow.
So that's how old this is. His mother was born on this farm.
Awesome.
So that's cool. This is a family, handed down through the family. And that's the other thing, too. You kind of want kids to leave this, too, to be able to work it. So they said Mindy, from the beginning, giggly, happy, loved people, all that sort of thing. And by the way, there's not a lot of Colombians in New Salem.
I can't imagine there's
North Dakota.
More than these two.
That's what it's all about. Three, I think. It's Michael,
Okay.
April, and so outside of this family, there really aren't a lot of Colombian kids wandering around in this town. So they kind of get a lot of looks like, where the hell did that kid come from type of deal. Like, yeah. So, but her sister Rebecca said she'd talk to anybody. She'd strike up conversations with people. She was very, very musical, Mindy, as well, at the time when she's a kid. Her sister April says when she was 10, she could just watch the piano teacher play a song, and then she could come home and play it by ear.
That's awesome.
She could do it by ear, just dick around until she found the right sounds that work and put it together.
People that are self-taught on instruments, I'm blown away, especially that one.
It's impressive. It's very
There's
impressive.
so many fucking keys.
Especially because I've had people actively try to teach me and I can't learn. So
I don't get it.
I can't imagine just taking it on my own and figuring it out. That seems well beyond my capabilities. I'm going to say that.
I memorized 8 keys of Beethoven, and that's it.
Yeah, we can all play Heart and Soul on the piano. One of the sides, either the high or the fucking low. I can only play the high. I don't know where you can do. Can you do the lows or just the highs?
I don't know. I can do the ba-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Okay,
that's
that
it.
Yeah, for
that's
Elise
all
or
I've
whatever.
got.
Yeah, that's what you got. Wonderful. Yeah, we suck, dude. Thank God our live shows are comedy because
if I had to play a fucking
if we had to fill it with music, it would be a short show.
Oh boy.
You'd be like, thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks for coming out. Thank you.
I did it.
All right. Whew. We go backstage, wipe our foreheads with a rag, high five like we do after a real live show, do all that. Whew, we got to get a drink tonight, boy. That took a lot out of me.
That is why I won't do 2 shows in a night. I won't do it.
I won't do it. Won't do it. What the hell is that from? That is why I won't do 2 shows a night.
That is Beetlejuice.
Won't do it. That's right, Beetle. Thank you. I think it sounded like Michael Keaton in my head. She also plays basketball from the time she's in the 3rd grade. Yeah, Mindy's very good at basketball. She plays all the way through high school and always on the school teams, and she's really good. She also loves farm work. Loves it.
Huh.
She loves to milk a cow, raise a chicken, bale some hay. She's into it all, man.
Fascinating girl.
She's jacked about the farm here. Now, in high school, she also, both April and Mindy, show athletic skills here. They're on the varsity track team through junior high all the way through high school. Also basketball. Her favorite player is Michael Jordan, and she's obsessed with Michael Jordan, which makes sense. A kid, if you're a child in the 90s,
he's the best,
and you like basketball, it's kind of the thing here. She even wore number 23 in honor of, which I think basically in the 90s, kids would have to fist fight over 23 because everybody wanted.
It was certainly in the bin.
Yeah, it was
every bin.
It was
jerseys.
tough.
Yeah.
It was really tough in New York because not only was it Jordan, but it was also Don Mattingly. So kids would want to murder each other over it. That was forget about it. That was a very popular number. She had posters of Jordan in a room and all that
Nobody
kind of
gave
shit.
a fuck about 45.
No, not really.
Nobody ever.
No, I was trying to think of, who wore 45?
Jordan at the end.
Oh, Jordan's 45. Yeah, Jordan's
45. Nobody
That's why he
gave a
switched
fuck.
back to 23.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not going to work.
Would
that last? A playoff series, I think, and a half or some shit?
I think a season and a half.
A season and a half, or was it just half a season?
I think it may have been just that half season that he was out for a little
half season,
Yeah, when
and
he
then
came back.
In the middle of the playoffs,
and everybody
he
was
switched
like,
back to
no.
23. Yeah, he had a bad game, and the next game he came out in 23 during the playoffs. I remember that part.
Yeah.
It was like, fuck. And everyone was like, shit.
Yeah, fuck your baseball number, man.
Damn it. Now it's going to be. And that started the trend, though, of big basketball players changing their numbers during mid-career, I think, just to sell jerseys again.
Sure.
That's all I can imagine. So they'd play in basketball in front of the farmhouse, even after dark. She's like Larry Bird out here, basically, playing outside the farm and shit. Sometimes till after midnight.
Jesus.
They'd have to tell 1 a.m, come inside. It's enough basketball here.
Yeah.
Yeah. She wanted to do Jordan stuff, they said, so she's always trying to do fadeaways and rock his shots here. She said her sister said she loved the way he played, his attitude, and she thought he was good looking. She also thought he
was a handsome man.
I didn't think about that from a boy's point of view. None of the guys, like, you wanted to dunk like Jordan. None of the guys were like, he's fucking hot too. I'm telling you, fucking smoking. See the ass on that fucking guy. Forget about it.
Great hips. Shit.
I will forget things I would do to him. Let me tell you something. Like, you never heard that really as a kid.
He has got baseballs for calves. Those are
I'll tell you something. Oh boy, Jesus Christ! So, come on now, let's shoot some hoops. I got to get distracted. She also played clarinet in the school band.
Fucking hell.
Busy.
Yeah.
Track, basketball, clarinet,
piano,
cow milking, piano. Like, she's got a lot going on.
Fuck.
A lot of energy here. She had aspirations to be a basketball coach, like a school. That's what she wanted to do.
Yeah.
Coach like a high school basketball team or a college team. Her high school English teacher said that she would have been, she thought, she's going to make it. In high school, she said, wow, what a great coach she's going to be later on. So she's doing all this shit. She's also very popular. Yeah. She has a lot of friends. She's really outgoing. She's smart, athletic, and attractive. So it's popular is what it's going to be, and outgoing on top of it. So,
and not a lot of time to be like, she's spread thin. So like, when you're in demand and you only have this tiny bit of time to give, it makes you that much more in demand,
more rare.
Yeah.
Her teacher said the word that most describes her is bubbly. She didn't walk into a room; she sort of bounced into a room.
She floated. Yeah.
She's got to be, because to do all that shit, you got to have a lot of energy.
Sure.
So she graduates from high school, and in 2002 decides she goes to college, and she enrolls at, this is in Valley City, this is how we end up here, Valley City State University.
Is that a place?
It's Valley City State University. Sounds made up.
Yeah.
It sounds like that sketch where the guys are announcing crazy names and colleges they went to. You've seen that 100 times. It sounds like that. Valley City State University. Does not sound real. But she always, they said she took she has a baby blanket she's always had that she took with her to college and everything.
Really?
So she's also sentimental.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Yeah. And in addition to all that other shit she's doing, super into church. Like,
really?
She sings in the choir. She's goes to church every Sunday, no matter what she's doing. She, even in college, she'll wake up Sunday morning and call her friends up and say, "You guys coming to church?" and come hear me sing. And almost like it's like a religion with her. It's weird. So she was really cool. Sounds like a cool girl here. So she always had her blanket with her. If she was sleeping somewhere, she'd take her green blanket. At a friend's house, it'd be with her.
Baby blanket.
Her baby blanket. Now, during her freshman year, she wants to play basketball there, ideally, or be on the track team or do some sort of college athletics. But she figures out, or doesn't figure out, she realizes that she keeps having this recurring numbness in some of her fingers and in her face. She gets some numbness in both of these. So she goes to the doctor. She's 18 years old, this kid. I mean, active as can be 18-year-old. And she's diagnosed with MS. That year.
Oh no!
Yes, that's young for MS, obviously, and
for it to manifest, right?
Absolutely,
that is young, yeah.
But and MS, by the way, can go. It's the biggest spectrum of what can happen, because it can be terrible and debilitating, or some people can live with it for 40 years and they're 50 years and they're fine.
Yeah, right.
Not fine, but they can manage it, and
they got challenges.
They manage it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people. I was just reading a book about The Sopranos, and what's her name? Jamie Lynn Sigler, that played Meadow.
Yeah, Meadow's got it.
She's 20.
Yeah.
It was like season 3.
Yeah.
They told her she had MS. You know what I mean? And she, she worked and did The Sopranos and was okay.
She was just on a Super Bowl commercial a couple of years ago. She's doing okay.
My stepfather's had it for 20 years.
Yeah.
And he does fine. He has other problems too. So
sure.
But she also goes out with a guy during her. She finds a boyfriend during her freshman year here, named Kyle. A guy named Kyle. That sounds college.
Yeah.
That's part of the college checklist. Go out with a guy named Kyle, I think, is you check that off. Done.
Do Kyles generally keep that name for the rest of their lives, or do they
There's no short for Kyle. There's no long.
No.
They call you Kyler. What the hell are they going to call you? You know what I mean? Like,
you can't go by Kai.
You can't adult that
name.
up any.
Yeah.
Impossible to adult that. Timmy is bad, but Tim is fine. There's no way to fix that.
There's only been one Kai, and he was a hitchhiking murderer, so you can't go by that.
Hitchhiking disaster, fucking schizophrenic murderer. So we did a Patreon on that, by the way. Check that out.
And he is a fucking enigma. Good Lord.
He is a weird guy.
I just feel bad about Kyle names, because it's always a joke. It's always a joke.
Well, yeah, because
Kyle's mom's a big fat bitch, James.
This big fat bitch. She's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world. If there ever
Kyle's
was a bitch,
never
she's a bitch
a good
to all
name.
the boys and girls. I know that song way too well by heart.
Boys and girls. I love when he does that.
It was my daughter's favorite song in the world when she was like 10. And we would play it in the car over and over again and sing it. So she's a cool kid, needless to say. It's her favorite thing.
Boys and girls.
Boys and girls. So she's going out with Kyle for about he's a junior when she meets him.
Yeah.
So he's, farther along than her. They go out for about 2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 2 years of he graduates after 2 years, and then about another half year they stay together. She planned on marrying him. She told everybody, "This is the guy.
That's him.
He's the one."
School. Yeah.
She was talking about picking out dresses and shit. Like she was wanting to marry this guy, but after he graduates, he moved an hour away, which is hard if you're busy. So they couldn't really keep the long-term thing together, and they ended up breaking up.
Okay.
So Kyle is out of the picture here.
Dunzo.
But she still all her friends said she kind of harbored a little something for Kyle.
Yeah, he's the one that got away.
He's the one, So she's always hoping Kyle might come back and be in the picture here. So 2006 is her senior year. It's the end of her senior year, the very end here, or the beginning of her senior year. She's doing that. She is doing a phys ed degree. That's what she's for her degree, because she wants to be a coach. Yeah. She hoped to be a trainer, maybe, or or a coach, basketball coach. She also was an assistant basketball coach at a high school in Valley City at the time. So she was doing that in her spare time to get coaching experience, and she was a lifeguard at the university as well, and sang in the church choir, and played the piano and clarinet.
Wow.
And did schoolwork, and was going out with Kyle, and had friends, and
I want a nap. Yeah.
And she's got MS, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Like she's, that's something right there. She's got a lot of energy. She's living in an off-campus apartment now.
Yeah.
And the reason is because her doctors told her she gets to take part in a clinical trial for a new MS drug. And it was kind of like a chemo-ish drug a little bit, and it would suppress your immune system a lot. Yeah. So that was difficult. So they told her to move off campus to her own place. She could do other things and go out and do stuff, but being in a dorm with a shitload of stuff just floating around, all these kids, that's not really great for you. So get your own place off campus so you can keep it clean and how you like it and everything like that. So she does, and she has a job here. She works at Robbie's, which is a restaurant in town. It's a friend of hers. Parents own it. Her mother owns it. So she works there as a waitress, and everybody likes her. She's a very popular waitress. People ask for her. She's nice and friendly. So, you give me the friendly one there. She's better. Awesome. So she does that. She's at church. She's going to school, doing all sorts of shit here. The athletic director for the university is a guy named Doug Peters. He says that, he was friends with her from 2004 on when he became athletic director, and, she was close to his family. She loved his daughters. She was a sweet kid, and they attended the same church as his family. She did. She would sing in the church choir and volunteer to do the youth group things and
really
shit for the kids. And I don't know where she's getting this energy, but she's making me tired already here. So now her sister Rebecca moved back to New Salem. She got married and moved away, but then they moved back to New Salem in July of 2006. She's moved back to start a church with her husband.
She's going to create her own?
I didn't even know that was an option, but I guess churches...
think about it. Yeah, I guess, they got to start at some point.
A few miles away from me, there's a church that's been for lease for like ever. It's just sitting there, this church. We should start a church. Want to start a church?
Want to start a church?
Let's do it. We should just rent this place out. I don't know. No, we have no dogma. That's our church. Come on in. What do I have to believe in? Whatever I don't care. Doesn't matter.
Church of Early Day Saints?
I don't know. Whatever you feel like. Make it up. Make it up as you go along. Just don't make anybody else do it. All right, bye. And that's it. That's church. We could do that.
We call it the Church of Handle Your Business.
Yeah. So her husband, Jason, is a Nazarene pastor. And they also, I have no idea. A Nazarene, it's some
super Jesus
denomination.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I assume so. And I guess there was, they adopted kids from Colombia as well, I guess, from her and her husband. So that's nice here. And she's the natural born of the Morgensterns. So the trial study, like I said, Mindy participates in. It's experimental, but she's trying to do it. Her father said she was feeling better as she was taking the medicine. It was making her feel better. Uh-huh. And she was expecting to hear the trial results in October of whether this drug works and is going to work. So she's doing all this stuff. She gets a new boyfriend as well. Got to move on.
Got to get over Kyle.
You get stuck on Kyle.
Oh,
come on. No one should be hung up on Kyle.
Nope.
Let's be realistic here. So this boyfriend's name is Jordan Raynham. And
she found a Jordan.
A Jordan. Yeah. She's like, I like
girl.
that. I like that. Yeah. You know what? That's my jersey. Already says it on the back, so fuck it. That's my guy. Yeah. He's a local guy from Valley City, and he's also raised on a farm. So
got some shit in common.
Farm guy. He's a little more shy than her. She's more outgoing. He's a little more reserved because most farm guys are kind of quiet.
Yeah, there's a lot of aw shucks guys.
Yeah, I've met a lot of people from farms. None of them are real boisterous, because it scares the animals probably.
Well, there's that, and there's also there's a lot of shit to do.
Another reason why Italians don't farm much, I think. Maybe that's why. We're not going, and everything runs, come by, you motherfucker, and they're chasing shit.
All the hand talking scares the chickens.
The hand talking, and you're going to get shit in your pinky ring, and nobody wants that.
For sure, yeah.
That's going to happen. So people said that he seemed a little more serious about her than she was about him.
Okay.
She might have been still harboring some feelings of Kyle. Some little Kyle left in there. Little residual Kyle left around the rim. And but Jordan's very into her though. Awfully into her. So late August 2006, she contacts the police, Mindy does.
Yeah. Okay,
she calls the police about a suspicious man who stopped outside of her apartment.
Oh.
Now, this sounds like not a police calling worthy thing, but this must have been a feeling she had to be, because she's friendly and she's outgoing. So she's not like, oh my God, a person talked to me, I better call the cops. Like, that's not how she is at all.
Yeah. It had the interaction must have been very not fluid.
Well, the guy just asked her for directions.
Oh.
He got out of his car, asked her for directions to a street that was only about a block away. So he was right there. Close. If he just drove, he would have found it. So she described the man as being in his 60s and driving a blue car that resembled what she thought was like a Ford Taurus-y type car.
Okay.
So mid-size blue sedan, basically, here. And they all look the fucking same in the 2000s.
Yeah. And in
from 2000 on.
Were they still making a Taurus? Oh, yeah, they were. That ugly
all rounded.
One. Shit,
rounded oval
that was
piece
a
of shit.
Weird one. Those
ugly
weird
fucking
headlights.
Taurus.
Yeah.
Ugh, nasty.
So football stereo.
Ugh, terrible stuff there. So she said that when he stepped out of the car, she felt threatened, is what she called the cops. He didn't threaten her. He didn't touch her. He didn't do anything. But she said she got a weird
aggressive
vibe.
Body language.
Yeah, and she just wanted to put that out there that there's a guy who freaked her out. And that's fine, because now if somebody else reports, my kid got taken and the only car in the neighborhood was a blue Taurus, maybe that's the guy. So maybe you get a report going, and that's how you build stuff up there.
Documented at minimum.
Absolutely. Her mother says she used to come home and just to ask for food, like to make her mother's version of that food because she was homesick. So she'd go all the way home just for scrambled eggs sometimes. It was like a 2-hour drive for scrambled eggs. Yeah.
Huh.
They said she put salt on everything. That was one of her traits that everybody knew. Everything heavily salted. Heavily salted. And her favorite thing in the world is mashed potatoes, apparently, which after my own heart.
Yeah.
After my own heart, darling. That's
how whipped are they? Are they how fluffy? God,
I don't even care. Lumpy, fluffy, give them to me. Fucking
man.
lumpy, fluffy, baked. You want to throw some shit in it? Great. Put some bacon in it? Okay. You want it to be just potatoes? I'll take it. If there's a potato base, I'm eating it, period.
A whipped, like a giant fluffy mashed potatoes is so good.
Fuck
the
yeah,
sour
it's good.
cream and milk
Yeah.
in them, forget it.
Bring it on.
And butter, shit, I'm hungry now.
Bring it on. Oh, I can't wait to eat tonight. I am jacked for this. So, yeah, she said that, Eunice, who's more of a serious type, the North Dakota farm woman is, kind of what you expect. She said Mindy would come in and turn the radio on and make her mom dance and do all that shit. And she's like, we're getting Colombian up in this motherfucker. Let's go. She puts on, drums and horn music, and mom's got to dance now. It's all over with. So she comes around here in late August of 2006 here, and she's small too. She weighs like 115 pounds. She's a small girl, and she said her dad was outside loading hay bales, and her parents said she told her dad, "Fucking, I got this. You're gonna have a heart attack, old man. Get the fuck aside." Get aside.
With
basically.
her MS, she's flinging bales.
She's flinging bales of hay, telling her dad, "You're gonna have a heart attack," which is pretty damn cool. That's the type who that's how she is. She had a 96 Chevy Corsica that would break down all the time.
Yeah.
Which is kind of how that works. I could have just said she had a 96 Chevy Corsica, and you'd all go, "Wow, that broke down all the time, I bet."
She was working on it a lot.
Oof, man. She said that coming up to this time here, September 12th, 2006, Eunice said she had a nice phone conversation with Mindy. Said a wonderful conversation. We talked about everything. And then September 13th, 2006 comes around here. Now, about 11:30 a.m. this day, a woman named Lacey, who's known Mindy since school, since, 10 years or whatever, she met Mindy at the library at Valley City State University, which still sounds ridiculous.
State.
And they talked for a while, and then they both left the library together at 12:20 p.m.
Okay.
Now, Ashley Coons, she said Kunz, by the way. That is one letter short of this girl having a rough childhood. She said that she was chatting online with Mindy on September 13th here. This is during Coons' lunch break from student teaching. So Ashley was doing that. She said that Ashley said she told her she had to get back to her student teaching, and the conversation ended at about 12:20. So it seems like that's when she was talking to her from the library and, online. And then when the other girl went back to work, that's when she left the library with her friend. She was like, okay, shut that conversation. Now I can leave. Okay. So Mindy apparently has plans on this day, everybody says, on the 13th. That day, she's supposed to have some sort of modeling shoot.
Oh?
And, her friends know vaguely it's a modeling shoot. Her sister said she didn't really know a ton about it. She just said Mindy called her Tuesday night to ask the night before. It's a Wednesday, is the 13th. She called the night before on a Tuesday to ask advice on what to wear to this thing.
Okay.
So, but her sister, she said she didn't really give her that many details of the thing. I don't know if it's like one of these agencies that they take your pictures and they charge you $400. I don't know what's going on here.
But you got to know what it is to know what to recommend.
It might have been for the school pamphlet. You know what I mean? That's a student you want to put on there. She looks like she's having a good time. So she did that. Mindy said that she had found it on the internet, this modeling agency or modeling whatever, and had checked it out with the Better Business Bureau even. So she's not giving Nigerian Prince money here. She actually gets on the Better Business Bureau website and checks them out. I never do that.
I've never checked the Triple B for anything.
No, not she's
once.
Got her shit together, man. That's wild. Wow. So the photo shoot was supposed to be early in the day on Wednesday, is what her sister said. So presumably, when she's at the library, she's already gone to the photo shoot. That's all we can assume here. Now, she's supposed to meet her friends later on. Now, this is shaky, whether she's supposed to whether she knows she's supposed to or her friends are trying to recruit her to. Basically.
Do we know which friends?
Yes. A couple of her friends, Tony Bauman and Danielle Holmstrom are their names. And apparently Tony's got a boyfriend here that is a little bit possessive. And apparently she had told, the boyfriend doesn't like it when Tony goes out with certain friends. Men and women, your significant other has a friend you don't like, and you don't like it when they go out with them because they're whatever the fuck. So
they're different around that person.
Yeah. So that's how that goes. So they decide now Mindy's okay to hang out with, according to this guy. Mm-hmm. She's okay because she's smart and has her shit together or whatever. So the friend thinks about lying to the boyfriend and saying, I'll be at Mindy's house. I'll hang out with Mindy instead of going out. But then they decide to go, let's get Mindy to go out with us. That way, when Mindy comes out with us, when I talk to him, Mindy's right there too. And Mindy will be like, yeah, I'm here. Because Tony told her boyfriend that Mindy was, I guess, going to be there. So they try to call her all afternoon, and she doesn't answer her phone all afternoon. All afternoon. They're like, fuck, we need to get with her because she's part of the plan. And if he talks to her before we do,
can fuck it all up.
Fuck it all up here. So they said they wanted to stop by her house then because she's not going to answer the phone. We'll just stop by. So they stop by her place here, and this is from Bauman, Tony Bauman. Now, we'll say also, people could say, for the last couple hours, people have been saying that they can smell pine sol very heavy by her apartment. Just a heavy pine sol smell, like in the hallway, all out here. So Tony goes, and she says this, quote, I ran inside and knocked on the door, and there was no answer. It wasn't locked. Door was unlocked. First of all, if I go to anyone's house, unless it's like my mother, I'm not checking the doorknob anyway. But
I've never checked anybody's doorknob.
I guess if you're real close, you just check the doorknob. So she said it wasn't locked, so I opened the door and stepped in. Seems normal. Quote, about 2 steps in, I saw something on the ground right in front of my feet. It was Mindy. And then I noticed something around her neck.
Oh, boy.
Now, she bolts out of the apartment so fast she, trips and falls into the wall because she's so freaked out by this, obviously. Yeah. She runs out of the apartment here. Danielle is in the car, basically. She's still waiting in the car. So they stop by. They said that Danielle said, quote, that Tony came running to her car and opened it and was screaming. She just ran out screaming. Yeah. She grabbed a phone, Tony did, called 911, and she said she thought that there was something wrapped around Mindy's neck, is what she said out loud here. So they go back to the apartment. They're not waiting for 911 because they don't know if she's something around her neck, she could be unconscious.
Yeah. Maybe
Let's help her.
Pull that thing off, she's fine.
So they run back up there, and they find a neighbor who's outside, this guy, and he walks into the apartment with them to check if Mindy's alive or not. And he puts his hand to her face for some, I guess, to feel for temperature.
To feel for wind?
I guess, maybe wind or, like I said, or temperature to feel the face if she's cold or not. Yeah. Hey, everybody. Just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. The most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch up here or a total makeover. Yeah. Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing. No. They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently. Wherever your problem areas are, tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's SONOBELLO.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about our stylish friends at Quince. That's right, let's go elevate your styles, people. Yeah. Get it going, look good out there, and you can do it now without breaking your wallet, without breaking the bank, because at Quince, you can get high-end, versatile pieces at prices we can all actually afford, which is very nice. You want to get good stuff that lasts and it's good, and they have quality stuff that's very affordable, and you can do like we did, upgrading our stuff here, while still being a very reasonable price. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. It's all quality stuff. You're going to love it. Trust us, it looks good. And I've got the leather jacket. It's a very high-quality item. Real nice, soft leather. Yeah. Jimmie's got his linen pants he's rocking.
Yeah, they're terrific.
Come on, be like us. Be fashionable. Get in there with Quince. Indulge in affordable luxury. Go to quince.com/smalltownmurder for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/smalltownmurder to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about a very cool place, Thrive Market. Yes, we are both looking to get into the healthy swing this year. The problem is I don't know what's in everything, and I don't know if even I'm qualified to even read the labels to know if that's good or that's bad. Right. There's chemicals in things, and there's things floating around. I don't know what I'm doing out there. One of my favorite features, and I know you were talking to me about this, is the Healthy Swap Scanner in the Thrive Market app. Yeah, it's simple. You scan any item, and it'll instantly suggest a cleaner, healthier grocery alternative, which is
it's great.
Amazing. Yeah. That's great. Thrive Market also takes the guesswork out of finding these safe, healthy foods. For example, like I'm trying to get my protein intake up for energy. I'm always moving around. I need stuff, and I love that you can filter their site by the high protein options.
Nice.
It's very cool, and you can personalize this portion, and you can put filters on it, and get ready. You should be ready for a junk-free start to 2025. Get ready for it and head to thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder and get 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/smalltownmurder, thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So she is unfortunately not alive, though, Mindy. She has passed away on the floor here. Next to Mindy is an empty bottle of Pine Sol laying there.
Okay.
And it really smells heavy of Pine Sol. Like you open the door, it punches you in the face of Pine Sol. Pine Sol's strong. If there's a lot of it in a small area, it'll overwhelm you.
Yeah, I didn't know how much you needed when you mopped, and I used a lot. And the bottle is what I used.
The
whole bottle, and that's too much.
That'll take your house over for a while.
Yeah.
So the neighbor, Danielle, described the whole thing with the neighbor as strange. She said it was weird. He was just like right there. Yeah. We walked in and he was just like hanging out in the hallway now. And
he's touching bodies and shit.
And he's happy to go in and check out a potentially dead body. Yeah. Like he was more than happy to walk in there. So she said also she'd never seen him before around there either.
Really?
So that was different as well. So anyway, when they get in there and see her, there's a belt wrapped around her neck. That's what's around her neck is a belt. And there are two different knives in the region. One is lying next to her, very bloody, and the other one is sticking out of her neck and it's broken.
Oh, wow.
A broken, like the handle broke off, so the blade is sticking out of her neck.
Shit. So
this is like, holy shit, hardcore violence here.
It's a vicious attack.
It looks like her throat's been cut and it's been broken, ripped off too. So she's been strangled, stabbed in the neck, and her throat's been cut at the same time.
Very, very angry.
And you stab someone hard enough to break a knife blade off in their neck. Yeah. Your neck is not that.
No, there's not a lot of stiff shit in there. It moves around a lot.
Like Ed Kemper said.
Yeah.
In the Mindhunter show, he's talking about fucking people's necks. To break a knife blade off that's something else there. So, other than that, her apartment, there's not ransacked. Her shit's not knocked over. There's not, doesn't look like all the furniture has been tipped over or anything like that. And her purse and her lanyard are still on her arm.
Oh,
like her college ID and her purse, corduroy purse she's got, is still on her.
Like on her way out or on her way in.
Yeah, and she's only two. She's right by the door.
Yeah.
So did she go to leave and have somebody jump her from the other side? Did she let somebody in and they were going to leave together?
Right.
Who knows here? So yeah, phone and wallet though are scattered on the floor. So purse is on her shoulder, lanyard on her shoulder. Phone makes sense because she probably had that in her hand.
Right.
That ends up on the floor, but her wallet's on the floor too. So it looks like they don't know. Did somebody rifle through her purse, find her wallet,
robbery?
And threw it? Yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of not clear at this point. All they know is she was last seen alive at 12:25 p.m. That is when she left the library and was in the parking lot.
Yeah.
That's the last time. So police arrive.
Yeah.
And they find no forced entry into the apartment.
Yeah.
No forced entry. There's no secured entry, by the way, into this apartment building. So anybody can just walk up to the apartment doors.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a gate outside where you got to put a code in or
Right.
Put a key in the lock or anything like that. So the door was unlocked, as the friend said. So they said that. Now, the special agent Mark Saylor of the North Dakota Bureau of Criminal Investigation said, quote, "As I entered, I could smell a very strong odor, like an ammonia disinfectant.
Yeah,
the body of the victim was laying across the entry hallway. And they said she lived alone, and they're not aware of anyone else who has a key.
Really?
Nobody they know has a key. So it's not like a bunch of her friends have keys, or she gave a key to a neighbor to water her plants or some shit when she went out of town. Nothing like that. The person they'd really like to find is Ford Taurus Man at this point.
Yeah.
Because that guy is a guy that they certainly should like, because that guy scared her. You know what I mean? Made her feel threatened. She never said anyone else made her feel threatened. So they don't know what to do. They're starting from scratch here, basically, with let's interview everybody within a 50-mile radius. Friends, anybody that ever met her.
Yeah.
Problem is she knows so many people from college.
Yeah, colleges tend to fuck things up.
Yeah, and she works at a restaurant, so like this could be some sick fuck from a restaurant that kept an eye on her. This could be some sick fuck from college that's been keeping an eye on her for 2 years and decided to make their move. Who knows?
Some guy that requests her section every week.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It could be anybody. So they said the cause of death here is an incised wound of neck and asphyxia. So it's strangulation and fucking
and
wounds.
The bleeding. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, this is brutal, man.
One or the other could have done it.
This is they were strangling her, what I would assume, strangling her, and it wasn't going fast enough. So they started stabbing. That's what this sounds like.
Jesus Christ, that's too much.
Strangling takes longer than you think.
It's wild.
It takes 3-4 minutes to strangle somebody. That's a long fucking time. It's a lot of effort, number one, and I think it's just not what people expect. They see movies.
Yeah.
The guy goes down.
It's the noise. I mean, it took me 42 years to find out that it was the blood circulation cutting off,
not the air,
not the oxygen.
Yeah.
The noise makes people think that you just run out of oxygen and you knock out.
Yeah.
That's not it.
That's not it. So that's what it feels like. Is this was taking too long,
right?
And then they went. Obviously, 2 knives. One wasn't even enough.
Right.
And she was stabbed with both knives, by the way.
Yeah.
The one wasn't like a backup that got left behind. She was stabbed with both. Yeah, because one broke off in her neck. So I assume they got another one. Went after. And I say he because this just doesn't seem like a...
Gals don't do this.
Yeah. No. And she could probably fight back if it was somebody her own size.
Yeah, somebody might have some wounds. Yeah.
She can toss a bale of hay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I was making sure to state that. If you can toss a bale of hay and you play,
she's kicking MS's ass at this point.
That's what I mean. She's pretty tough here. And she's not a withering flower either. She's spunky. She's got a lot of energy. Yeah. She seems like she'd fight you. So the reactions, obviously, people freak out. Everybody liked this girl. Her sister said she was just a really awesome person. That's Rebecca. They said how much she loved sports and even helping people at the school. The athletic director said, I just knew her very well personally. She was one of the nicest people I ever met. She really liked kids. She's somebody I would hope my daughters would be like. Okay. That's a compliment here. The family all gathers at the farmhouse to Her dad's 57, her mom's 54 at this point. The kids come home. They're, this is how they found out, basically. Eunice noticed someone outside and in the dark.
Yeah.
Noticed somebody coming up to the farmhouse. So they flicked the light on and they saw it was Rebecca, their daughter, who lives in New Salem, and she's crying. And then next to her is the Morton County Sheriff's deputy next to her where they live, that county. So he said, oh, Christ, now what? Jesus, what the fuck's going on now? Didn't expect this, obviously. They said they were just horrified. They basically
devastated.
They sat in her room for the rest of the night because they didn't know what else to do with her there. They said even the cat who doesn't like people was crawling all over everybody that night.
Trying to comfort folks.
Animals are like that, dude.
They know, man.
They do. No, my dog Frankie, if I'm sad,
that's your friend.
She will not leave me the fuck alone. Yeah, but I bought her. I can't count that. I didn't even buy her. I found her on the street. So you know what? I find friends on the street. So yeah.
You chose that friend.
Yeah. We didn't pay a dime for that fucking dog. So the next day, they have a few leads. I mean, they got to talk to boyfriend, ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
People at work, see if anybody's being weird, stuff like that. But they don't have any suspects.
No.
Everybody's confused. All the friends are like, I don't know who could have hurt her. It just doesn't. Nobody was mad at her ever. There's just no reason for anybody to hurt her. So the police chief here of Valley City, Dean Ross, he was conducting interviews, and they said that they had to follow up more than 100 phone calls they received very quickly.
Really?
Everybody that knew her was just like, this is what I know.
Yeah, that's overwhelming.
Yeah, and they said, we do not have a suspect at this time. However, we really want one. Which is
we'd really love one.
We'd love to have a suspect. That's the most honest, and I feel like this is a guy who the Valley City fucking chief of police doesn't talk to the press about murder very often. I feel like that's the thing there. Probably.
I don't have any, and I'd really like one.
Really would like one though. So they said also there was no evidence that gives any indication that sexual assault occurred.
That's positive.
So that's good. She was fully clothed and everything like that, so that's something anyway. The police here, the chief said, at this time, I can't talk motive. You're not going to get a lot of answers about why. What we do have further investigation to do. This will come to court, and we don't want to jeopardize our case. Okay. We know nothing, and I'm going to say it's because we're keeping it close to the vest, which a lot of the details they are keeping close to the vest because they have to interrogate people, and they want to know if, you keep some shit secret.
If they know anything, then they'll tell us they know things.
You definitely, want to chill it out. He said, quote, everybody's scared and we want to bring some peace. We're still a safe community. This one tragic death shouldn't have happened. So don't think that there's a maniac out there on the loose, even though there is. Don't be freaked out by that.
Don't let it change your life.
Yeah. Vote Chief Ross, by the way. So the Mark Saylor guy, the Bureau of Criminal Investigation cat here, when he gets in here, he's the one, he figures it all out that the pine sol had been not just poured in the apartment, poured all over her body. She's soaked in pine sol. Yes. So I don't know if whoever did this thought that she would be left here to decompose, maybe. No one will find her, so.
That's how strong pine sol is.
Yeah, it'll cover the smell.
Stuff. Yeah.
That's all I can imagine. But he should have done it away from the front door because that's everybody smelled the pine sol, which is weird.
Or was he doing it to get rid of any sort of DNA?
That's possible too.
What I mean? Because I imagine that'll clean that shit up. It'll clean everything up.
That doesn't work though. There's DNA sticks around unless you really get it on the thing, especially under fingernails.
Yeah.
That's Mindy's a fighter.
Yeah.
So, yeah. This guy, he realizes that the belt around her neck is a cloth belt, and we never find out if it's Mindy's belt or not. That's what I'd like to know. Is this something someone brought with them, or something they just found on the spot? Same thing with the knives. Are these Mindy's knives, or did this person bring a kill kit of a belt and knives? That's a different thing here. There's no usable fingerprints found on the knives, which is very fingerprints are really tough. They smudge. They smear. It's really hard to get a good print here. They do get DNA from the knives.
Terrific.
2 male DNA hits on this.
Oh, two different ones.
Two different males on this with two knives, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because there's two knives. Also, on the inside of rubber gloves that were found at the apartment as well.
They left them?
They left them, which is, I guess if they're bloody, you probably don't want to take them with you, but leaving them is leaving your DNA behind. But I don't think in 2006, everybody was aware of how you can get just like if your skin cells fall off in a thing.
Oh, God.
People probably thought you needed a hair.
You're sweating your ass off inside of a plastic glove. Those things, they're so wet in there.
Hair samples are collected from the crime scene, including one from the left-hand palm of Mindy. Okay. There. The hair is never traced to anybody.
Really?
So no idea where the fuck that came from. Could have been anyone.
Random-ass hair.
So they believe that she was stabbed and strangled around 12:30 p.m. because at 12:47 is when a phone call came in and she didn't answer, and she never answers the phone after that. So they assume sometime between 12:25 when she was seen and 12:47 when she didn't answer her phone.
Holy.
It's a very short window. It's like 22-minute window of
Or
anything.
It was happening when that phone call came in, too.
That could have happened as well. Yeah. Absolutely. But at some point
it started in that window.
Yeah, it started in that window. So that's what they have to know, so they can, when they get suspects, they can narrow down where were you between this time and this time type of shit. So questioned a little bit further, they said they estimated the time of death by considering when apartment building residents started smelling pine sol as well.
Great point, yeah.
That's another thing. Now, there is another weird one here, though, because there is a woman named Nicole Thorson who was at her mother's apartment in this complex. She went to her mother's apartment earlier in the day after leaving work at 7:30 a.m. and smelled pine sol. So that's earlier than this.
It's 7 in the morning?
Like mid-morning. Then she went to the apartment again at 2 o'clock and didn't smell the same odor, but then she went outside at 2:30 and smelled the pine sol. I don't trust this lady's sense of smell at all.
Yeah, who knows?
It went away, it came back. The fuck out of here with that. It was strong. Everybody else smelled it. So
if it was there, it was there.
It's there or it's not there. Yeah, it's not going away for a while.
Right.
Maybe the wind shifted or so, I don't know. But so the cops realize they need to figure this out. They really want a suspect, as the guy said. They'd love to have one right now.
Yeah.
He did say that, and people are freaking out. All the any 21-year-old girl at college is double locking the door and getting a weapon to sleep with and
There's
shit.
A fucking slasher here.
Yeah. So they do have DNA from under her fingernails.
Oh,
that's not hers. So that's plus male DNA. So that's something they're really going to look into. And also on her shirt and some blood, there's DNA there as well in her bloody shirt. So they look into a few different people, like her friend's boyfriend, who is a little bit jealous. They look into him. They look into a man who her coworkers say, we'll talk about this guy, her coworkers say made her a little uncomfortable at work. He's a guy who used to come in all the time. Also an ex-boyfriend's dad. I think Kyle's dad might be involved in this. Yeah, Kyle's dad they talk about. Random people. Her boyfriend. Who is it? There's a drifter guy that literally lives in a camper at the edge of town they want to talk to, too, because he comes to the diner sometimes and requests her section.
Really?
So, yeah, that's what I mean. There's a lot of people. And where do you start? So one person is her neighbor. The first guy they want to talk to is the guy who was just happened to be hanging outside the fucking apartment and going in and touching her. You just touched a dead body? What are you, nuts?
Yeah, your mind.
So they questioned him. They asked him what he was doing during the time of the murder, which the medical examiner had said happened between 12:23 and 12:47. And that's only based on evidence, not on medical evidence, because you cannot pinpoint. No. Even now, you can't pinpoint a body even
not
close to that.
24 minutes.
Fuck no. It's like a 4 to 6 hour window they can get it within, because so many factors are a thing. So the neighbor said, what the fuck were you doing?
Yeah.
He said, I was just watching TV in my apartment, and I heard, this is how he put it, abnormal noises.
Yeah, like a murder?
Well, how would you put it like that ever? Would you say I heard abnormal noises?
No. I'd say
strange,
bonks,
odd,
screams.
weird.
Yeah.
there's
I'd
100 different
describe
words.
them.
Yes.
I don't know that I'd say.
Be like a boom, boom, like
Yeah.
a bang, like you were trying to tell a mechanic what was wrong with your transmission.
For
Like,
sure,
It
yeah.
makes like a knocking noise. Like a.
I
but
would
then
have
it's-
descriptions of the exact noises I've heard, not weird words to like. What did he say?
abnormal noises.
Abnormal. No.
I'm not sure. So he said he ran into the apartment. By the way, our terrible band that plays 10 seconds of Fur Elise and Heart and Soul, we're calling it Abnormal Noises when we hit the road. That's how this is working. It's the name
Can't
of our
wait.
band. Thank you, Weird Neighbor Guy, for naming
We
our band.
are abnormal.
We are Abnormal Noises.
Thank
we
you,
don't know how to play
Minneapolis.
instruments.
Good night.
Thank you. He said, like I said, he ran into the apartment and he said it looked like Mindy had been strangled. So police ran a background check on him, and he's been in prison before.
Oh?
That's not great.
No.
He's been in prison.
What for?
For some stuff. Well, he's been in prison for like stealing a car and had some weed on him and stuff like that. No violent crimes, no rapes, no burglary, no like the
normal
residential
shit.
burglaries or shit like that.
The fun shit.
Yeah, he was out having a good time. I picture him like, wee, with like a beer
Yeah.
out the window as he's
Lots of
joyriding.
smiling while he's getting
Yeah.
arrested.
Joint in the other hand here. Then also they notice he's got fucking cuts all over him.
Really?
On his finger, he's got a Band-Aid. He's got a slash on his arm. He's got a cut on his other hand. He's got all sorts of cuts on him.
Is he a fucking
And,
welder?
well, they find out he's a steel worker guy.
Yay!
He does
I
steel
nailed
work
it.
and tin shit and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So that's what he said. He goes, well, I cut this one this day. I cut it here or this day.
Yeah.
He goes, I cut my hands every day. I get cut every single day.
Yeah.
And they're like, interesting that you would, because one of the cuts is a pretty deep one. He said, I got that on the 13th. They're like,
Why do you know the date?
okay, that's weird, because it was
Yeah.
like 2 days later. So he goes, yeah, I got that on that Wednesday,
Okay.
which is the day of the murder. So
Yeah.
interesting. So they go, well, tell you what, let's, how about we swab that cheek, buddy? What do you think of that? Get some DNA off you. He said, no problem. And so they get the DNA from him, and then they let him go. Now, little investigation, they talk to his supervisors at work, and they say he does cut the shit out of himself all the time.
All
at
the
work.
time. This man
Everybody,
he's a sieve.
they said everybody's walking around with fucking wounds all over them at this place.
We
when they
call
went
him
to
first
yeah.
aid.
Yeah, but it's everybody there.
Yeah.
Not just him.
It's just my whole crew.
It's the whole
I
crew.
have hired
yeah.
a
the
bunch of
walking
people.
wounded. They're just these
That
guys are a
refuse to
mess.
wear the PPE. I give them the PPE. They refuse to wear it.
Doesn't work.
I give them gloves, and they say they're too baggy. I'll just cut a finger.
Not happening. See, that's how they do. So they release him for now while his DNA gets cooking. Boyfriend is a suspect, obviously.
Jordan.
That's always number one
Yeah.
suspect. Boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. That's who you're
Jordan
talking to.
Kyle. Let's talk to both
Jordan
of
and Kyle. Oh, yeah. So they talked to Jordan. He was with her the night before. She was dead Tuesday night. He said at 10:45 a.m. on Wednesday, the day of the murder, he had a conversation with her on his cell phone before he went to work plowing a field.
So he was out plowing.
He doesn't have a lot of punch-in type things. He's
no.
out plowing a field, which he could be a mile that way.
Sure. But a lot of these farm equipment today, plowing, those things got GPS and just like a car, so they know if that sumbitch was running.
Probably not in 2006, though.
Maybe not.
Nah, I don't think so. Not because
I'm trying to think of my I had a 2006 Dodge Ram. It didn't have anything for fucking
fuck no
GPS. No.
If you have a tractor that's however 10 years
navigation
old
was
or something.
legit. You were a baller in 2006.
You got a TomTom on your
or
dash?
built into the dash. One of those.
Forget about it.
it.
That was wild. Didn't
You
work
rich
at all.
motherfucker.
So now he said he didn't finish work until about 8:40 p.m. And he had just gone to bed when his father came in and told him at 9 o'clock that Mindy had been killed.
Oh,
so he said that's how he found out from his dad just after he went to bed after working in the fields all day long.
Being a plowboy, yeah.
Yeah. So they interview him several times. They keep having him come back again. Have him tell that story one more time. How about again? How about tomorrow?
Yeah.
Maybe you'll forget. So, and Bruce, his dad, he will say that his son came out to the field about an hour before the time. He said that he was in the field well before 12:30. So he said that between 12:30 and 1, his son was plowing the field and remained plowing the field throughout the afternoon.
Yeah.
So it's an alibi, but it's from his dad, so who knows? Now, how about a suspicious man? Mm-hmm. Okay, this guy here, one guy that people said stood out to Mindy's friends, especially her one friend, Lacey. Lacey told a police sergeant that the man was carrying a laundry basket at one point and appeared unaware of this guy was just walking around with a laundry basket, and everybody was out there like mourning and shit. And their friend was like, this guy's weird.
Like
you should check.
Log lady in Twin Peaks.
You should check on him.
With this?
Yeah, just like wandering through the complex, almost like voyeuristically hanging around a bunch of people mourning, just holding his laundry basket. Like he went to the laundry room and he was just like, hey, what's going on here? What do we got? Like a little barbecue happening in the front, but it's
and then just
people
passes
crying
again, carrying the laundry, and
yeah,
like one more again with the laundry, and
police detectives with notes and shit. You know, it's just strange stuff. So that guy is identified as Maurice Mo Gibbs.
Yeah,
actually, his name is Mo Maurice Gibbs. That's his official name.
Really?
Yes, Mo, which is usually short for Maurice, but in this case, it is Mo Maurice Gibbs. He is a corrections officer or a jail. He works at the jail, the city jail. So I don't know if that's a CO or just a guard or whatever the fuck that is. So he also had worked in the past as a night security guard at the university.
Okay.
So there's that guy. He was in the military as well. They asked him about that. He said he had been dishonorably discharged from the Army because of an assault. So they take his DNA, kick his ass out too.
Yeah.
Now,
Sultan son of a bitch.
Let's talk to Kyle.
Yeah.
Step up, Kyle. Your turn. So Mindy and Kyle dated for about 2.5 years. They broke up a few months before the death. And according to him, he says, well, she had a very flirty personality.
Okay.
Which is
to put down somebody who is dead.
That's not even putting down.
No?
He didn't say she blew everybody. She had a flirty personality, which to me says, who knows? She could have been talking to anybody. Like that's
somebody could
interpret a suspicious statement for me.
Yeah.
For me, my ears are up when I hear that.
I don't like anybody talking like that about people.
Yeah, she had a very flirty personality. Yeah. He said that they had been in contact for a while, or they hadn't been, but she had been in contact with his dad. His dad called Mindy that afternoon of her murder. Yes, which is interesting. Kyle's dad called. He said that he had been uncomfortable, Kyle was, with her dad and Mindy still talking. He didn't like that.
That's fucking weird, Dad.
Weird. And he said that it was actually ruining his relationship with his father, that his father still talked to his ex-girlfriend.
Stop trying to fuck my ex-girlfriend, Dad.
That's what it
looks like. I don't know that you are, but that's what it feels like.
Either way, it's creepy. You have kids. It's good enough here, so stop doing this shit. So they brought Dad in, and it is revealed that Dad was one of the last people to call Mindy, actually.
Okay.
They take DNA from both of them. Neither of them are a match on the DNA. Okay. They're ruled out, obviously. None of their DNA is laying around.
Okay.
All right. How about a weirdo? Let's talk about the town weirdo.
Yeah, the guy in the trailer down the way.
Yeah, a few weeks here before she had died, first of all, there was Taurus guy. That's one guy.
Right.
Then there's another guy. She had gone to the police station to report that someone had been following her.
Oh.
Someone's following her. Now she's dead in her apartment. That's a pretty good, avenue to go on. She was very scared, and she told all of her mom and friends about it, too. She felt like she was being followed. Like I said, she worked at the restaurant, and there was one guy who lived across the street from the restaurant in a camper.
Yeah, I don't like that.
He is described as, quote, a drifter and loner, which is...
Yeah, he lives in a fucking camper.
When you find this girl dead, the first thing you say, are there any drifters or loners about? That's like the first thing they think about.
They're possibly a guy who lives alone.
Yeah.
Has nobody.
Non-traditional housing, we'll call it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Lives in a fucking camper.
Yeah.
Is a little bit creepy. That's the first guy you talk to in town.
Does he live in something? Is his domicile perhaps something that people can only tolerate for 3 to 5 days?
Does he empty his shitter ever? Is that a thing that happens? Because I don't have to empty my house shitter.
Does
so
he oftentimes have to hook up a hose to his building?
Let's talk to him. Let's talk to shit hose guy. Come on in and bring your shit hose, Mr. Drifter. Does he have
to plug his house in?
Yes, that's what I'm wondering. To like an extension cord coming out of the gas station. So he's a drifter and a loner. They bring him in for questioning. He tells the police that he didn't know Mindy and had never been in the restaurant.
Huh.
Meanwhile, he lives across the street and all that sort of thing. He also had cuts on his arm as well.
Uh-oh.
He said he was doing some maintenance work, and that's how he got cuts on his arm. That's how he makes. Yeah,
had to empty the chemical toilet.
Yeah, for work, like he was making a couple of bucks. Okay. That's how he buys. Sure. So they get DNA from this guy. His DNA is not a match either. He was the front runner. People were like, "That's the guy." Because
it's a match for something, probably.
Yes, and the friends had said that guy had come in the restaurant, asked for her and all that. Now he's lying to them, too.
Yeah,
so
what is that about?
Either he just knows I'm the drifter loner, they're going to question me, I better deny everything, and that's what he did, or he's suspicious, but the DNA doesn't match. So moving on, excluded, get the fuck out. He goes. Now they're going to go back to Mo Maurice Gibbs over here.
Yeah.
Okay, because they want to talk to him because they get a weird vibe off this guy, and he's got an assault in the past that he talked about, which isn't big. It's an assault. You punch a guy or something. It's not the same as stabbing a woman to death, obviously. Right. So they search his vehicle, and no evidence of anything is found in there. There's no blood at all they find or anything like that, and no pine sol. Not like he has like a trunk full of pine sol or something. That's his signature. He's the pine sol killer. He's got a bunch of bottles he buys in bulk. He's planning a real assault on the Valley City area. So his apartment is also searched. No evidence linking him to Mindy or to her death found in his apartment as well. Because he lives right by her. He's in the apartment complex. So September 18th, this is 5 days after the murder, DNA results all come back in.
Here we go.
Okay. Now, first of all, before we get to that, no scratches were noticed on Gibbs's hands, but he had scratches on his hands because he indicated that he did have some cuts on his hands. Gibbs said himself. He said he had some cuts on his left hand and on his right hand. He said he cut himself while moving boxes the day after the murder, is what he said. Okay. Because he and his wife are at this time and were during that week in the process of moving out of this apartment complex.
Oh.
So they're packing and shit like that. So he says, and also he cut himself, quote, while putting in or removing his stepdaughter from the car seat, which I've never heard of that before.
They generally make those real rounded edges soft.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Say the obvious. Why would they do that, Jimmy?
Well, those are children that are sitting in
that. There's babies in them. That's why. Yeah. There's a 1-year-old just flailing out. They would be a fountain of blood afterwards. There's just a sprinkler.
Which Graco has the razor blade edges?
Yeah, no. There is no way you could cut yourself on a car seat. It would be very difficult. Maybe on the back if there was some sharp plastic. I don't know.
That thing wouldn't pass safety regulations. There would be lawsuits.
So they're like, wow, did your stepdaughter cut you? Did she stab you while you were doing that?
Is she filing down the edges of her car seat because she hates you?
She's fucking nasty. So now, but the DNA that was collected from under her nails does come back as a match to Mo Maurice Gibbs.
Mo,
what are you doing? So who the fuck is Mo Maurice Gibbs? Let's talk
What's going on?
So this is, he's 34 years old.
He's the hamper man?
He's the hamper man, exactly. The hamper man cometh here. So he, when he went to this time, because they get the DNA, but they also call him down to the station and say, before they arrest him, they say, are you willing to take a polygraph test?
Yeah.
Because they don't know. Maybe they shook hands. Who knows? You know what I mean? So the examiner tells Mo that his answers are inconsistent. And then they ask how his DNA would have been found under her nails. Now they hit him with that. By the way, how would your DNA be found under her nails now that he failed the polygraph? He said he didn't know and that he was never in her apartment.
Dude.
So I don't know. Now,
the wind doesn't do that.
That's what I'm saying. That's a rough one. Yeah. Now, his wife's name is Christina Judd.
Yeah.
She's one of the Judds, I believe, that didn't quite
They
make
need
the
one.
band.
Yeah.
She didn't make the band.
They're
She wasn't a
down
good
one right
actress.
now,
They're
so-
down a Judd at this point. She's going to step up. She'd been married to Gibbs for about 3 months before the murder happened. He's a newlywed, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
And she tried to explain for where he was until about 1 p.m. because she said she knew. She said that he returned to their apartment at about 7 a.m. from a 12-hour shift at the jail.
Yeah.
So he works night 7 to 7,
Shit.
7 to 7 at the jail.
That's a fucked shift.
But all the jail people say that's the easy shift because nobody does anything. It's
It's just the
sleeping.
drunks coming in. That's
Yeah.
got to be a pain in the ass.
8, you do a count, but 8 hours of it is everybody's lights out. They're not allowed to do anything. So you just sit there and jerk off, basically. So less stabbings, I would assume.
I imagine, yeah.
So I don't know how many stabbings there are in the Valley City fucking jail either. I doubt there's much. Seems
know. That's when people suicide though.
That'll happen
In the middle of the night, you know what I mean?
Yeah, when no one's looking. Yeah. So they said that he got home at 7. He went to bed and slept until about 11 a.m. So he did a little half sleep there. At that point, he got up and took Judd and her daughter, his stepdaughter, Tiana, to, she's a toddler. That's who he might have, obviously, has a vicious car seat she's got.
Yeah. God.
Yeah. He took them to lunch after dropping off a vehicle at Judd's parents' house. After lunch, Gibbs dropped Judd off at her job between 12:20 and 12:30, at which time she punched the clock. So we know that's a fact. Then, a few minutes after Gibbs dropped her off at work, Judd said, now she's 7 months pregnant, by the way.
God damn it.
With his kid. So
Yeah.
she said she sent text messages to Gibbs asking him to get her something to drink and bring it to her at work.
Yeah.
So he returned 5 to 10 minutes later with the beverage.
12:40.
So we're in this window hardcore at this point. So Gibbs said that after he dropped off the drink, he returned to his apartment where he parked his vehicle with items they were relocating because they were moving in with Judd's parents. So they were slowly moving shit over there. So Gibbs said that he made 3 trips to his in-laws' house. He returned the second time at about 2:15 p.m. and the third time at about 4:30 p.m. So he's taking loads of boxes over at a time. He said at 4:30 he stayed and talked with his father-in-law until he picked up Christina at work. And he said when they got home in the evening, the smell of pine sol was heavy in the apartments. He could smell pine sol as well. He said he smelled it during the afternoon, but he just thought maybe there was a vacant apartment and they were cleaning it and then airing it out. So he didn't think anything of it. That's his story. Now, Judd, though, because he said he smelled it all day, Judd says that his wife said she didn't smell the chemical on either Gibbs or on the daughter. She didn't smell it on his hands. Pine sol, if you get it on you, get on your clothes.
It sticks around, yeah.
You're going to smell like pine sol. She also said that Gibbs was wearing the same clothing as when he dropped her off at work when he picked her up and didn't smell like pine sol. Okay. Or he wasn't covered in viscera either.
Yeah,
so that's
covered in viscera and pine sol in same clothes from this morning. So that lends to he didn't change.
That's interesting. So they said later in the evening when they were putting the kid to bed, the toddler to bed just before 9 p.m., that's when they noticed flashing lights outside. And Judd said she went out and got some information that a murder had been committed in the apartment complex. Yeah. So the family leaves the apartment and stays with her parents that night. Who knows if there's a psycho killer out there, you know? So he came in voluntarily, by the way, for this. They didn't have to arrest him. They called him, asked him to come in. He walked right down there, happily took a polygraph, let them take DNA. Now, who the fuck is this guy? Well, Mo Maurice Gibbs isn't his real name. That's one thing.
Oh.
That he just changed it to that a year ago.
Why?
So when they did a background check on him on Mo Maurice Gibbs, nothing came up.
They didn't get anything. Yeah.
They didn't get shit. When they look up Glenn Dale Morgan Jr., now there's some shit because that's his real name.
Yeah.
He changed it to Mo Maurice Gibbs.
Glenn Dale? Jesus.
Glenn Dale Morgan here, Jr., by the way. If you listen to Crime and Sports, which, by the way, listen to Crime and Sports if you're not.
Yeah,
there's murders going on. Yeah. There's all sorts of stuff. And your stupid opinions while you're at it. God damn it, that's funny. Jesus Christ. So there's a junior rule here that's usually not good if someone's a junior. So now Glenn over here, we'll just call him Mo because we know him as Mo at this point. He was born in 1972 in Merced County, California. His mother was 15 years old.
Shit.
When she had him, and his father was 20. So his father was a child molester. Let's just call that what it is. I'm sorry. That's not, she's a sophomore, he's a senior.
No.
He's a sophomore in college.
That's a man who's got a day
she's
job.
She's a sophomore in high school. Yeah. Not good.
Right.
Yeah, he's got a day job and bills.
Right.
Yeah, he knows how to pay an electric bill.
That's a grown man.
Too old. So his father, the 20-year-old, was a maintenance worker at the time.
Yeah.
So he wasn't even in school. He was just a maintenance worker plowing a sophomore.
Gross.
That's just gross. He was employed with Merced College, though, at the time as a maintenance worker.
Yeah.
So he had access to an entire campus of age-appropriate women.
Right.
And he said, 15-year-old. That'll do. Wow.
These old maids.
I did find, and I believe this is him, when he's 18 years old, because it lines up perfectly with the age, Glenn, Dale, Mo, Gibbs here. Mo, when he's 18 years old, he looks like he got married in Pensacola, Florida.
Yeah.
He was married to a Tasha Ann McGraw, who was an 18-year-old from Chicago. Okay. So he's married to her. That makes sense that he'd be in Pensacola because he is in the U.S. Navy at that time.
Oh, is that right?
He joined the U.S. Navy in August 90, and he will be dishonorably discharged in July 99, and we'll tell you what happened there. He claims when he got a job at the jail, he put a bunch of shit on his resume. Number one, he put his Maurice Gibbs as his name.
Yeah.
And he claimed that he was a search and rescue supervisor in the Navy. But in fact, for 5.5 years of the time he was enlisted, he was actually an inmate at the U.S. disciplinary barracks in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. He was actually in the fucking Army pokey in Leavenworth.
In the brig, yeah.
Yeah, not great. He was in there from January 92 to April 98.
What did he do?
Attempted premeditated murder.
Attempted
Premeditated murder.
And he only got 6 years.
Yeah, because it didn't work, apparently. Wow. That is fucking wild. So he didn't tell anybody about that part of that. He just said assault. He changed his name from Glendale Morgan Jr. to Mo Maurice Gibbs on April 15th, 2005. So, or August 15th, barely a year he's been this name in North Dakota is when he changed it.
But that tells you he's been suffering for a long time because of this Glendale name. He's got to get a new one.
Jr. It's
and
a lot.
He went with a Bee Gees name? Like what
Mo Maurice Gibbs. Yeah.
Sounds like a bass player.
And he's a big black guy, too. That's the other thing. So I don't know if he's, I want to look like Andy Gibb, I don't think is his fucking...
Yeah, that's not it.
Probably not. So... Anyway, in 2005, he changed his name, and he gave the reason on his petition at the Cass County District Court as, quote, "My father abandoned me and has never been a part of my life. I want to no longer be known as having the same last name."
Yeah. Also, Glenn's been to prison.
Another thing on there, he also wrote that he's never been convicted of a crime or a felony. Lies. And they okayed the name change in June 2005. And not only was he doing other shit, he works at the jail, but before he worked at the jail, in the spring of 2006, he was the basketball coach for Valley City Parks and Recreation League team.
What?
Youth basketball is what he's coaching.
Yeah.
Put him around the kids. That's nice. One person said that he coached for her son's Valley City Parks and Rec League team, and she said, quote, "He was an awesome coach.
The nicest.
Great guy."
Yeah.
She said that, quote, "Everyone felt so fortunate to have someone of his talent coaching the boys who were ages 8 and 9 and really looked up to him. He was such a good coach. He could get down on the level of 8 and 9-year-old boys." That would be great.
Yeah.
If we didn't have other problems.
Right.
She said she also knew him as, an employee in the area because this lady, her name is Schweitzer, she lived in the Fargo area. She said Gibbs wanted a job at the Wagon Wheel Inn in Valley City so that he could be near his fiancée.
Sure.
She was there at the time. That's before they got married. So she said that Gibbs's fiance had worked at the inn a long time ago and came with Gibbs for the job interview to explain their situation and to help him get the job. So she was like, hey, here's my, soon-to-be husband. This lady said that it was explained to her that Gibbs lived in Fargo during the week and wanted to come to Valley City on the weekend, so could you get him a job? Also, the Valley City State University spokesman said that Gibbs worked as a security guard at the school from February 24th to April 15th, 2006.
Just for a couple of months?
Just for a couple months, and that's when he got the job at the jail.
Got it.
That's how that went. So, yes, he claims, by the way, on his resume that not only was he a search and rescue supervisor in the Navy, he was a night supervisor of 15 to 35 personnel, trained all new incoming personnel, created schedules and directed duties to all personnel, and assisted and was directly involved in all search and rescue missions, all of them.
Holy.
He's Mr. Search and Rescue.
None of that sounds even possible.
He also claimed on his resume that from 2000 to 2003, he studied whatever this, quote, medical assisting. That's how he put it. Medical assisting at Whatcom University, which sounds like you made it up. Again, it sounds like some
and what comes or some shit.
Yeah, it's on. That commercial is on like while you're waiting to see if the person's the father on Maury. They have the Whatcom Community College.
What.com University.
Yeah. What the fuck is that.com? This is in Bellingham, Washington. From April 2003 or 2002 to May 2003, he was the lead shipper at a company called Fast Cap in Bellingham. Yeah. And then he was in Texas, he says, from August 2003 to May 2004, where he was studying medical assisting at the Hallmark Institute of Technology in San Antonio, Texas. Okay. And he also was working at SeaWorld in San Antonio.
What?
I assume training the dolphins to speak because he's such a fucking genius, this guy. He's making amazing. Orcas, play fucking pinochle with you or some shit. So also he... during that time, he worked in the shipping and receiving department, he said, at SeaWorld.
At SeaWorld, yeah.
June 2003 to December 2004. During that time, he also, according to the Texas Boxing Association, so technically we could have done this one either way.
Yeah.
The Texas Boxing and Wrestling Program, he was a licensed Texas boxer from August 2003 to August 2004. He didn't renew his license, but he had it for a
full year.
A boxing license, yes.
Rakuten is the smartest way to save money when you shop because you earn cash back at over 3,500 stores. Fashion, beauty, electronics, home essentials, travel, dining, concert tickets, and more. Your favorite stores like Lowe's, Levi's, and Nike pay Rakuten to send them shoppers. And Rakuten then passes on a part of that payment to its members as cash back. You're already shopping at your favorite stores. Why not save while you're doing it? It's a no-brainer. Membership is free and easy to sign up. Get the Rakuten app now and join the 17 million members who are already saving. Cashback rates change daily. See Rakuten.com for details. That's Rakuten. Your cashback really adds up.
Escape reality and immerse yourself in a gripping tale of mystery, murder, and romance with June's Journey. Join June as she unravels the truth behind her sister's mysterious death and use your observation skills to find hidden clues and uncover dark secrets. Plus, you get to explore stunning hidden object scenes, from New York parlors to Parisian sidewalks, as each chapter reveals captivating mysteries. How sharp are your observation skills? Put them to the test in June's Journey. Download for free today on iOS and Android.
Then he was in North Dakota from June 2004 to May 2005. He studied physical education at Mayville State University and was working as a housekeeper at the Wingate Inn from June 2005 to December 2005.
See his girlfriend. Yeah.
And then we know where he was from there, security guard, blah, blah, blah. So that's when he got a job at the Wagon Wheel, which he kept through March, and then he left for something else and all of that. His boss said that he was good at his job. He didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. They also say the role of night security staff is to walk around campus when he's a night security guard and check that doors are locked and that people are where they're supposed to be. There were no incidents that he reported or involved him in any way. So
at a hotel?
On campus, that is.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah.
At the campus. So that's he wasn't going around climbing co-ed's windows or anything. Nobody reported anything. They said at the school did a criminal background check on Gibbs when he was hired.
Right.
And the guy who did it said, quote, "We found nothing. It came up clean."
Yeah, it's 2 weeks old.
Yep. Too fucking unreal. So then he got a job as a CO at Barnes County Jail.
Yeah.
He married Christina Judd in June 2006. And by the way, she is the daughter of a university's athletic director.
Really?
Yes. So Gibbs's wife here, Judd, is an artist and a photographer, and she graduated from Valley City State University.
Sure.
And she's pregnant with his kid. His old boss said, quote, "He seemed like a very loving father to his daughter and new wife,"
Right.
meaning his stepdaughter. He registered for classes the spring before at the university, but withdrew before the classes started. So they said that he used to come to the athletic events with his family. One person at the college said he carried himself very well, was always respectful. There wasn't anything abnormal about this guy. Abnormal must be a big word in North Dakota.
It's the Canadian joke. Yeah.
That's the Canadian joke, absolutely. Yeah. So his wife had graduated from the college, and that's why they were moving out of the apartment complex, and they were moving into her parents' house for something. So around 3 p.m., George Judd, his father-in-law, confirms that Mo Gibbs stopped at his house on the way to Fargo to pick up his wife from the airport. Yeah. Because the father was going to the airport. He said Gibbs was at the house when he left to go pick up his wife. He said Gibbs wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary, nothing abnormal. Don't worry. Judd noticed no scratches or Band-Aids on his hands. He said Gibbs was at the Judd residence with his stepdaughter, and because they were going to move in with them. So the DNA they found here, Gibbs's DNA was on the fingernails of Morgenstern's left hand and on the front of her bloody shirt.
Oh.
Okay. So that's 2 spots. That's not great. Not good at all. So the problem is DNA samples from 2 other people were also found under the fingernails of her right hand.
Oh.
Yes. But they can never match those to anybody. They only can match
but
this
his
to him.
DNA is not on a knife, nor in a glove.
Nobody. Yeah. No. Yeah. But there are other people. So
yeah.
It's very fucking strange here. But his DNA is on her and under her fingernails, which would and he's saying he never went near her and never went in her apartment. So that would be difficult. If he said, "Yeah, I gave her a pound outside," you know what I'm saying? We did a little.
We knuckled up. Yeah.
We knuckled up. We did a little, one of these and then one of them and a palm and like a bro hug at the end.
The coolest handshake you guys have ever seen.
Understandable.
Yeah.
But that's not what he said. So Gibbs maintains his innocence, though. He says, but he has no explanation as to how his DNA was found on her. Doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty, I think I can guess probably.
I'd be screaming. How the fuck is that possible?
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense.
I don't understand that. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's abnormal.
So I'm going to go
That
on
sure
home.
is abnormal. Yeah. So a statement released by the office here, sheriff's office, said that Gibbs was in the Valley City Law Enforcement Center on a voluntary basis. He was unarmed and placed under arrest at approximately 6 p.m. without incident. His vehicle was seized as well. So the DNA analyst here at the North Dakota Crime Laboratory, Hope Wilson, will testify later on about analysis of DNA taken from fingernail scrapings or clippings from her. Now, this is going to get real technical on DNA for about 5 minutes. If you've ever wanted to know real technical shit about DNA, this is going to be your window here. Maybe 3 minutes. She said that the DNA found matched a profile of Gibbs. The major profile was Gibbs. The total amount of DNA taken was 41.2 nanograms. Okay?
How much is that?
A very little amount, but I mean, it's DNA under fingernails. It's not
nanograms.
Nanograms, yeah. Like how they
Tiny
measure
grams.
for THC in blood, nanograms per milliliter, little amounts.
Right.
But out of all of that, 75% of the DNA found belonged to Gibbs. He had 30.8 nanograms of his DNA was under there. They also, because he's going to have lawyers that say it's a transfer. It's a secondary transfer. They could have touched the same doorknob. That's literally what they say.
Oh, boy.
She goes to the laundry room, touches the doorknob, he goes, boom, under her fingernails. Now he's a murderer. That's what they're saying. So the person from the lab said that his DNA could not have come from a secondary transfer. She said that she agreed that the small amount of DNA could be touch DNA, but it can't be like a secondary transfer, which is a different thing. He would have touched her, he's saying. It had to be touch. She said, though, the DNA found on Mindy's right hand did not belong to Gibbs. The DNA found on the knife in Mindy's throat did not belong to Gibbs either, but it belonged to another guy.
Yeah.
So this is confusing as fuck, is what this is. So they get a computer analyst to examine the hard drive of his computer, Gibbs.
Mo's? Yeah.
Mo. And it showed internet activity beginning at 1:07 p.m. and going on for a period of roughly 2 hours. Okay. Now, did she know him? This is something we need to know.
Yeah.
Well, Jordan, her boyfriend, said that other than seeing him in passing and saying hello, he doesn't think she knew Gibbs at all.
Okay.
Just doesn't think so. But he had seen Gibbs's car parked outside her apartment building because he lives there. So they asked about Jordan. They say, what do you think the motive is? You're asking her fucking boyfriend? What does he know? Yeah. He said, I don't have the foggiest notion. I am very, very angry. No shit. Okay. I bet you are, and I don't blame you. So the police also said the chief again, here he comes, Mr. I wish we had a suspect.
Yeah.
He said, quote, I don't think they found a motive and they feel they can, I think they found a motive they feel they can hang their hat on, is what he says. So his wife has a different story. Judd now, his wife, says that Gibbs told her after his arrest, he doesn't say anything about this till after his arrest.
Okay.
Tells her that he had helped Mindy carry laundry into her apartment the day before the murder.
Okay, day before, though.
But he never says that till after he's arrested.
Okay.
He's like, well, that could have been it. The day before, I helped her in and, maybe when I grabbed it from her hand or something. First of all, she doesn't need help carrying shit, number one.
Right. Yeah.
She carries bales of hay.
And I've got a new story to tell. Uh-oh.
Yeah, and this is a very convenient story of how DNA might have been on her from him.
Right.
And she said so he had helped her in there. The wife said she does not remember what day Gibbs pointed out scratches on his hands, but she thought it was September 11th, 12th, or 13th. Okay. So any of those days. Judd's sister, Angela, also says that Gibbs pointed out to her a deep scratch on his left hand and a scratch on his face on September 15th that he already had there. On his face, which makes sense because you'd be grabbing at faces if someone's strangling you.
Okay.
So Gibbs told her that it was Judd's daughter that caused the scratch on his face and that he had cut his hand on the tailgate of a Chevy Blazer while moving.
Okay.
Again, just he sawing off tailgate. Tailgates are not that sharp. They're just not.
They don't get your
those
hands
edges.
Usually, no.
No, there's not like a tin edge on it. It's, it's rounded for a purpose there. Mm-hmm. So that's his story there. So he has multiple stories about how he got cuts. He has multiple. One it's a car seat, then it's the tailgate of the Blazer. It's on boxes. Then it's his fucking stepdaughter. So this is interesting.
The world is too sharp for him.
He is very, very pokeable.
Paper thin.
Paper thin. Yeah, he's like a 90-year-old. Just, you can see his blood through his skin coming out.
He's just spewing it everywhere.
Everywhere. He is. He's a sprinkler, this man, a human sprinkler. So the sister also said that she and her sister, his wife, talked about Mindy's murder on September 15th, but Gibbs did not join in the conversation. They said they were, because it's, if someone 2 doors down from you gets brutally murdered, you're going to gossip about that and they haven't caught the guy?
In the apartment complex at all. If their address is the same as ours minus unit number, we're talking about it.
and they haven't even caught the person yet.
Right.
So now you're playing detective on top of everything.
Jesus.
So they said, but he wouldn't join the conversation. She said, quote, Mo was really quiet about it. He really didn't say much of anything, which is strange. She said, though, they said, is he a real, boisterous guy? And they said, no, that's not out of the ordinary. He's usually pretty quiet. Yeah, that's what he said. So they also have a timeline of his cell phone and internet use, which shows a gap of more than an hour where he was unaccounted for on September 13th, where there's no calls, no interview, no internet use, and nobody saw him or knew where he was.
For an hour.
That's, yeah. So they say that the information from Gibbs's cell phone here and text message records, his call and text records, show MySpace, Yahoo, and MS Jesus. This is 2007 or 2006. Yeah. This is the Yahoo, MSN, and MySpace is what he was on.
Yeah.
Show he was unaccounted for 1 hour and 5 minutes on September 13th. And the cop says, I believe that time allows him time to kill Mindy Morgenstern.
Sure.
The timeline included 2 cell phones used by Gibbs, the cell phone of Gibbs's wife, Christina Judd, and also they had Mindy's cell phone and computer records, and they were trying to see. Mindy's last communication was around 12:30, first missed call at 12:46. So short window. People obviously are shitting their pants shocked here about the whole thing.
This is horrific.
Yes, everyone interviewed by this newspaper could not find anyone to say a bad word about Mo, by the way.
Wow.
Great guy, no self-destructive habits. He wasn't a drinker. He wasn't a gambler. He wasn't this. He wasn't a womanizer. He was into his wife and his pregnant wife and all that here.
For him.
I mean, yeah, they said he's known. His boss said that, at the wagon wheel said he's known as a nice guy by everybody.
Yeah.
She said it upset a lot of people. And she also said that this murder, quote, upset a lot of little boys in Valley City. It's a basketball coach.
Oh, yeah.
That's coach that they liked here. So, yeah, they talk about then they find a couple of his ex-girlfriends.
Oh.
One is
don't say nice things.
Usually not. 2 of them that they find here, one of them here is Cheryl. She says she had children by him as well, so he's got kids out there somewhere by her.
Shit.
Back when he wasn't Gibbs. They said they were also unaware of his criminal records here. Yeah.
Huh.
Now, the one ex-girlfriend said she was aware of the thing in the Army, but she said that it resulted from a fight outside a nightclub in which a bullet hit a female bystander. You want to talk about leaving out a chunk of the story?
He shot a woman?
A bullet hit a female bystander, like it fell out of the sky. He shot at someone, missed, and hit a fucking female, hit some poor lady by mistake, so they put him in jail.
He's a bad shot.
That's not even good.
And it was premeditated, so he decided somebody was going to die and shot at them, missed, and hit somebody else. Holy fuck.
He planned it, went there, so I'm going to kill this motherfucker. Bang. Ow. Sorry. That's interesting. Missed. So this woman, Go is her last name, G-O, like Doe with a G.
Yeah.
She said she wrote letters to Gibbs, and he wrote letters back to her while he was in Leavenworth, and they got together again after his release. She said that Gibbs told her he was taking responsibility for what he had done and trying to better himself and create a different life. She said that the couple did split up when she found out that he was cheating on her, though. That's a bridge too far.
That'll do.
A boxing coach who worked with Gibbs said Gibbs also told him that he was trying to straighten up his life, too. He said, quote, he was capable of creating mayhem in the ring, but it's funny, there was this gentle side of him that I liked, too. He was like this gentle giant, but behind the gentle giant, I knew he could be a killer in the ring. In the ring is a very important addition to that. So,
you know what he was in the brig for?
Yeah. One thing that bothers me is that she wasn't like hit or anything. Like there's no
assault.
I feel like
it's just strangle stab.
Yeah, I feel like his first fucking go-to would be punching, because how do you get a belt around someone's neck?
Yeah.
To the point where it stays there, it's tough. So I thought they did a background check on this guy, especially when he got a job at the jail here. But they found out that the Barnes County officials that hired him conducted a state criminal background check only.
So
just in the state,
just
for his
in
new
North
name.
Dakota. Oh my God!
So just for Mo Maurice Gibbs in North Dakota.
Oh,
nothing.
Jesus Christ!
And they didn't do a national check and did not look into his former name either. They just said,
they really fucked up.
They fucked up. Well, wait till you hear how bad they fucked up to hire him as a jailer, because it's going to come out. He's a fucking monster. Whether he did this or not, he's a monster. Yeah. He said that this guy said his department was aware that Gibbs had changed his name from Glendale Morgan Jr. He even gave them the other fucking name, but they said that they didn't believe anything would come up under that name, so they just didn't do it.
Probably not. Nothing came up under this one. Probably not that one either.
Yeah. He's had this name for like 6 months, so he's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, and what the sheriff or one of the guys who works there who does the hiring said, quote, "If you would have told me that you could hide your record by changing your name, I would have called you a liar."
Really?
Really?
That's the reason a lot of people do it.
What the fuck is going on? This is insanity.
Why are you so dumb, man?
Yeah. I bet the attempted premeditated murder would have probably precluded you from being a jail guard, I would assume. There.
For certain, yeah.
Yeah, you can hang out on the inside, but you're not getting a uniform. Not one with a badge on it, anyway. So the initial February 24th check on Gibbs was done through the State Bureau of Criminal Investigation, came back clear, according to this. After he was interviewed for the jailer position, here, the Sheriff's Department asked the Valley City Dispatch Center to undertake additional criminal background checks on Gibbs. They said that the one guy said he expected a national search to be done and believed one had been done, but he didn't specify what search he wanted done, so apparently they didn't do it. They just did the easiest one.
He just said, search this. I
Yep.
gotta go to lunch.
Then this idiot says this, quote, "I just can't blame anybody because I didn't make a request saying you have to check this name, you have to check that name. I just asked for a records check." Blame yourself. I can blame. It's you. You're the one in charge telling people to check shit. Tell them what to check, dummy.
I wasn't specific, and that's their fault.
Now you figure that's all them, right?
Yeah.
Now you figure maybe it's cost prohibitive to do a national check.
It's got to be expensive,
because it's
right?
a small town thing,
right.
so maybe they don't have the budget for something like that. Oh, wait, no. A national criminal background check on Gibbs would have been conducted free of charge because of the type of position he was applying for, according to FBI senior advisor Roy Weiss.
Unreal.
Free of charge, and results would have been available. It's got to take 6 months. They're all backed up. 24 hours it would have been available. Free. Tomorrow and free. They said, nah, he's good. Wait till you hear what the fuck he did in there based on this. This guy should be kicked right in the fucking balls, the guy who didn't do this check on him. Unbelievable. Now, the FBI guy says that the Bureau recommends using fingerprints for background checks. Yeah. He said, quote, "Names are a big problem, period. It's a real unreliable identifier." No shit.
It's weird how you can just say, "I'm this," and then there's no record for that.
They said a person's new name is entered into the system only after they're caught and linked with the old name. So it's a huge system. And the guy who does the hiring at the jail, what does he have to say about this? Quote, "How can you hide your record underneath a name change? I'd have never guessed that." Gee, if only it wasn't your job to fucking guess that, then it would be fine. But I wouldn't have guessed it either. But I'm not hiring fucking jail guards, so I don't really have to know that.
Is he just like asking names and then hiring? Is that
Pretty
how
much.
he does it?
Pretty much. He seems like a decent sort of cuss. Why not? Like, why not? He was a big guy. I think they looked at him and said he's a big guy. Yeah. He said he used to be a boxer. Jail guard.
He said his name's Mo. I mean, whho would pick that?
He's huge. He is a big, muscular fucking guy with a bald head. He looks tough. I mean, he looks like a big, tough guy. He really does. So they said that the Barnes County, whole county, is reviewing its employment procedures and how it obtains information about potential employees. Gee, maybe do that. And they said they were doing an internal investigation into the specific hiring of Gibbs. Yeah. The human resource officer at the North Dakota State Penitentiary said the prison is now changing its policy on background checks because of this. He said the prison didn't use fingerprints in the past either, but now they will.
We said black guy named Mo. That checks out.
That checks out. Yeah, look at that. Bald head, muscular, perfect. Now, why is that?
Named him.
Why is that so problematic?
Why?
That he got a job as a jail guard. Well, that's because on October 26, 2006, he is charged with more things. He's charged with 6 counts of sexual conduct with 5 female inmates of the Barnes County Jail while they slept. He raped women while they slept in the fucking jail.
Really?
Yes. He raped 6 people while they slept in fucking jail.
Unbelievable.
That's why you need background checks.
Yeah.
Because that shit happens. These people are completely at this guy's mercy.
Were they just investigating them one by one?
No, this all came, it was all,
okay.
They were looking at it, but they knew they were looking at him for something else. Because it didn't come out until he got arrested and he stopped going to the jail. Then all 6 women came forward and said, that guy's been raping us at night, by the way. Couldn't tell you because he threatened us. You know, can't do it while you can't. It's hard to tell on a guard while he's your guard because
now that he's not here, we can tell you what he's been doing.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's wild. From May through September, he did this.
Fucking, that's a long time.
That's a long time. So now he's charged with murder, also 6 counts of sexual conduct with 5 different female inmates. Yeah. He pleads not guilty to the murder, and they're going to wait a while on the other charges here. Yeah. Oh, by the way, November 13th, 2006, another charge comes in. They ran his DNA around a little bit to see if there's any hits. His DNA is linked to a rape in Fargo in June in 2004.
Uh-oh.
When he was in Fargo, by the way.
Yeah.
So lines up perfectly. So this guy's a fucking monster. Period.
Certainly a sex pest, sex predator. Jesus.
Sex predator. So now the theory goes to he tried to hit on this girl because she's a cute young girl. Yeah. She said, "Go fuck yourself" or whatever, and he said, "Oh, I'll fucking strangle you." He didn't rape her, but he attacked her. There's got to be to break a knife off. There's got to be some anger. We know this guy.
How is his DNA not on the fucking knife?
That's crazy. So April 10th, 2007, his wife Christina has his marriage annulled. Has their marriage annulled.
She's like, enough of this shit.
Yep. Yeah. She did. She asked for an annulment saying she wouldn't have married him if she had known the truth about his past. So they give her the annulment based on that. Yeah.
She's a good person.
Yeah. She's like, I would not have married this scumbag.
Yeah.
She said he lied about his criminal past and also the number of children and marriages that he's had because he's been married before. He's had a bunch of kids. His life is just he tried to wipe it clean with a new name.
Jesus.
It's crazy. So Christina said, his wife, that Mo told her before they were married that he had been incarcerated but lied about the nature of the offense. Yeah. Said he got in a fight outside a bar, which seems, that's normal. Yeah, that happens to a guy in the Navy. But
yeah, I saw Con Air.
And shot a woman. That's going to put that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. She said her consent to marry him was obtained by fraud, which is just a funny sentence, I think.
He snowed me.
He snowed me up here. The couple, by the way, still owe around town $1,420 for their wedding rings and wedding album. So that hasn't been paid for, and it's already annulled. Give the rings back. That's amazing. So he somehow, I don't know how, but in somebody he was banging on the outside, he gets engaged to at this point in jail.
Really?
Yes. At least 6 rapes he's up for and a murder of a young woman.
She's okay with this.
Yes, they have a daughter. He apparently got her pregnant at some point. I don't know if it was. I don't know if
conjugals. What the?
I don't know if it was in the jail or if it was because we know that's possible even if there's no conjugals, just from love after lockup.
Yeah, people throwing seed at each other all the time.
People will smuggle jizz. That is a thing that happens. So,
or they'll fucking sneak off to a broom closet.
In a broom closet,
too.
Yeah, that happened in the one. Yeah, absolutely, in the one there. So that's how she's from Moorhead, Minnesota. This lady, Amy Olson. She's 30. There you go. So motivated by the Gibbs case, the state legislature approves tougher criminal background check requirements for correctional workers and other professions hired by the state, which is probably good. I would say, Jesus Christ, man. One person said, I was kind of surprised when I reviewed the process. I feel it's important to get the background check done at the time of the name change.
That feels important, yeah.
Yeah, that's good here. There's a guy running for sheriff. He's next time, and he said, I think that that law enforcement can have updated information on people with criminal histories is a very good thing. But I also think we have to look on how it could affect other people who are changing their names, such as people who are getting married or going through adoptions. So he's just talking about the whole process. The current sheriff says he believes most law enforcement agencies already have thorough background checks. This was just a fluke. Let's not make a big deal out of it.
So one-off.
I hope that guy lost. I really do. It's fine. We don't need to submit a free thing that'll be done in 24 hours. We don't need that.
We're doing fine, guys.
It's all fancy book learning. I ain't talking about none of that. Like, what are you, fucking ridiculous? What an idiot. So Wow. The national search includes criminal, civil, financial, and military records and personal information. Yeah. So any of this stuff, anything that would go to the honesty and integrity of the person.
Sure.
So, one guy said, we check them even if we've known them for 10, 15 years. We not only check the references when we go talk to somebody, we go get other names to talk to from those references. So that's how other people do it. He doesn't do it. Gibbs, by the way, recently was among 11 law enforcement officials who were honored at a September 11th breakfast in Valley City. It was Monday. Wednesday he's doing this. He was photographed.
September 11th, like a tragedy day breakfast, and you're honoring a rapist.
You're honoring a rapist.
You've done
well.
He was
photographed alongside the sheriff, or the chief of police, and the Barnes County Sheriff, Randy McLaughlin, as well.
That's an embarrassing photo.
That is a terrible photo to have come out. Now, also, while he's in the jail, there's a guy named Jeremy Leopold. He says he overheard Gibbs confess to the murder while they were watching a television news show explaining how the murder trial was moving to Minot due to all the publicity. This is the guy's quote. This is Leopold's quote. Quote, he goes, exact words, I'd do it again. Fuck it. He gritted his teeth and went, pfft. He had a mean look on his face. I'd do it again. Fuck it. That's what he said he did.
He relived and loved it.
Yep. Leopold, who's 30, has a criminal record that includes at least 10 felony convictions and a half a dozen misdemeanor convictions. He wrote a letter to the Cass County State's attorney 5 weeks after he heard this. He said also he wrote the confession of another man in an unrelated crime. I heard this and I heard this. So they said, why the fuck did you wait so long to report this? And he said, well, I just found Jesus. That's why. I'm trying to get right. Between then and now,
I've been a real
Jesus.
piece of shit.
He said he started reading the Bible, and now he knew that telling the truth was the right thing to do.
I just learned it.
I just learned it at 30. Didn't realize. He also said that he had met Gibbs when Gibbs was a corrections officer, and he said that Gibbs treated him well and was a good officer. Well, because he didn't want to rape you. That's why. You're a guy.
You don't have anything he wants.
So June of 2007 is the trial here. So quickly, they get it going pretty quick. They had media protests because the judge closes down the courtroom for jury selection. Nobody else in. So they're trying to do all this. They said when they go over the trial, when they finally pick the jury here, the defense concentrates a lot on their saying, well, he brought his wife a drink at this time. It's in the text and all that. So the window's too small. His attorney asked the investigators how they determined the time of death, and they said that they didn't ask the coroner to consider body temperature. They were going by, because they had electronics instead. So they're like, it's between then and there. Body temperature doesn't matter. Because we knew she was alive then and we know she's not now.
She talked to somebody then and she's dead here. So somewhere in between the two.
So the defense says, so you're saying a missed cell phone call is your sole basis of determining time of death? And they said, we determined it that from 12:47 on, she never answered a telephone.
Right.
Which she could have been taking a dump. And didn't,
she could have been anything,
She could have just been in a wicked
She could have been in the midst of this.
Yeah.
She's not necessarily dead yet, but
that's the other thing.
There's shit happening. Yeah,
who knows? And they said, we don't have an exact time. So the sailor guy, he's the investigation guy, he said officials also estimated the time of death by considering when apartment building residents began smelling pine sol, which had been poured on the body, which again is not a real scientific method. What time did you smell pine sol is not a good way to determine this. It really isn't.
It's tough. Yeah.
So, but it's honestly the electronic stuff is a way better determiner than a coroner could ever make.
Right.
Coroner will tell you between 4 and 6 hours of this. Yeah. They'll tell you, well, after this, she didn't answer her phone. They also said the authorities had more than 350 leads in the case and more than 150 items of evidence. They tested about 125 pieces of evidence at a lab. They said fingernail clippings and scrapings tested positive for the DNA. Obviously, they had to say that in court. They said that samples of DNA were submitted by 21 people, and Gibbs was the only sample that matched.
Oh.
Out of 21 people that came in contact with her
that day. Yeah.
That day or all the time. They said, his lawyer said that couldn't it be that Gibbs could have picked up the DNA material by touching something that she also touched?
Yeah.
Isn't that how it could have been? Or the other way around.
Yeah.
And they said how many leads went unresolved. He had 350 leads, and the cop said there was a number, but they don't know how many. So, I mean, obviously some of them they can't track down, whatever. So they had a Verizon Wireless Company account manager testify that official company records could not verify the time of text messages to Gibbs from his wife. Weird, right?
Yeah.
Her phone shows the messages asking him to bring her something to drink was sent at 12:33.
Yeah.
Which would have kind of put him just about out of that window. I mean, right, it would have had to have been right at that window. Yeah. But the Verizon guy said other calls on Gibbs' phone that day show a time that was off an hour from the company's official records. Yeah, so they're saying this might have happened.
Time zone shit?
This might have happened at 1:33, actually. Just some sort of computer problem they had. They said that they asked if there was any way to verify through the official records that asking for a drink was sent at 12:33 or an hour earlier or an hour later. And the guy said, I have no way of determining that. So, yeah, they talked to that. Now, his wife, Gibbs, his wife here, Judd, she said that she first told investigators she sent the message at 1:33, but then later realized it was 12:33, which is interesting. So that's a thing here. They also said that the defense attorney said that he was not familiar with the one investigator said he was not familiar with all aspects of the investigation, including the results of DNA tests found on cleaning gloves in the apartment. And the defense attorney said, who would know if not you? Who? You're the lead investigator, which is a fact. The lead investigator should know everything.
You're the guy.
When you testify, you got to study first to do that. You can't just...
The root word of leader is lead.
Lead, yeah.
You're it.
And you can't... And if you act like you don't know what the fuck you're doing, the jury loses a lot of confidence in what you're doing. Yeah. He said that other agents handled part of the investigation and that some reports from an independent lab went directly to attorneys because they happened after there was an arrest and after attorneys were already found. He said, the investigator, that the hallway in the building... Mindy's building was not checked for evidence of biological fluids until 14 days after her death.
Holy.
That's terrible. He said, we were following up and just looking for what we could. He said that fluids might be degraded by then, and who knows
for
what the
sure
hell could have been out there. But yeah, who the fuck knows? So people walking back and forth over it with dog shit and mud on their feet and everything else.
There's pine sol everywhere.
Pine sol all over. Yeah, people are walking in and out with pine sol all over their feet. I mean, right away, everything's fucked.
Yeah.
So, they talked about how the defense had questioning about leads that weren't pursued, and they were asking the cop about some of them. One was a woman who told officials that she had a vision that something bad was going to happen.
Oh, God.
And the guy said, we don't pursue leads like that. How do you clear that lead? That's when I said, no, not all of them are cleared. How do you clear the something bad vision lady?
Also, it already happened. So,
yeah. Yeah.
We've
Dummy.
confirmed it.
We confirmed it. Now, at this point, Mo had to get a restraining order against a spectator, saying a man followed him and his attorneys and made threatening remarks about the defense lawyers.
Oh.
Yes, some guy here, this is fucking crazy. What's his name? Kraft. John Franklin Kraft. He's 55.
John.
He could not be reached for comment here. They said that Kraft was served a temporary restraining order in Minot, where he was living out of a van. In a van down by Minot is where he's living.
And he's a problem. He's out here running his mouth. Let him do their job, John.
Yeah, well, he sat in on the trial on June 27th, then lingered outside the courthouse and where spectators often gathered. But they said that Kraft camped out in the parking lot of the Minot Motel where the lawyers were staying. That's where he put his van. God. One vehicle was defaced and vandalized overnight. And they said that Kraft made smart aleck and pointed comments at the defense lawyers. Mm-hmm. So they were worried the jury would overhear them. July 9th, 2007, case goes to jury. Okay. 2 female alternates are dismissed, leaving a jury of 7 women, 5 men. Okay, they've picked their final jury there. Yeah. July 11th comes around, 2007. Still no verdict 2 days later.
Wow.
Yep, they closed the courtroom to have a session with jurors, just the judge and the attorneys, obviously, and Gibbs and the attorneys for both sides, everybody. The judge asked jurors, "Are you deadlocked?" And in a public session afterwards, they said that they were making progress, so they're not deadlocked. Yeah. July 12th, the jurors send the judge a handwritten note at noon telling him that they are at an impasse.
Really?
Yep. A jury statement signed by Walter Scraney Jr., the foreman, said that the jurors have unanimously concluded they could not reach a decision. So that's the one thing they could unanimously decide was that they can't decide anything. Over. They couldn't decide. Yeah, that they could decide.
We unanimously agree we can't do this.
And yeah, so you would imagine usually there's one or two holdouts in a case like this. You know what I mean? Not this one. This is the letter. It said, "This is based on our completion of your instructions and our deeply held judgments, which are evenly divided." It was 6-6.
Wow.
6-6. They dismissed the jury, officially a mistrial.
New jury? New trial?
Yeah. The state's attorney said a 6-6 is unusual. This is not how it works, usually.
Yeah, abnormal, some would say. Yeah.
It's usually 10-2 in one way or the other. It's not abnormal, exactly. North Dakota abnormal. So they said generally you're only going to have one or two people that are stubborn and that are going to go against the majority.
Right.
This is 6-6. And they said it's going to be difficult now to find an impartial jury if they decide to retry him because everybody knows about this shit. They said, I guess they're going to have it someplace in North Dakota. An impartial jury is not very likely, though.
Right.
They said, they said usually they want to talk to the jurors because they said we talk to the jurors, find out what was holding them up to get a feel of how the evidence played before a jury so you know for the next trial. And they said we certainly would love to know the reasons why this is happening. One of Mindy's friends said, quote, "It's a little bit of a shock," her best friend on the track team.
Yeah.
Her family's pissed. Her dad, Larry, said, quote, "I'm a Christian man."
Yeah.
Which when someone starts out like that, they mean, I want to tell someone to fuck their mother and punch them in the throat.
Yeah.
I'm a Christian man. I'm a Christian man. I don't like to get angry, is how he starts it. But this angers me. The DNA didn't seem to mean anything to the jurors. It seemed pretty simple to me, but apparently a good share of the jurors didn't think it was simple. Yeah, she said that he believed the jurors overlooked the DNA evidence implicating Gibbs, and he says he obviously hopes that Gibbs would be on trial again. He said, "We were hoping it would be over soon, but who knows how long it will be now. We had just hoped this would be closed." Yeah, of course you would. You want to get past this, for Christ's sake. He said everybody's has their own beliefs, but if there's DNA, there's DNA. I don't know what else they need.
Right.
Yeah, they said they hope this. Her friend said she hopes that Gibbs will be convicted in the new trial. She said he's behind bars no matter what. He has rape charges against him. He has all those other charges against him. I don't know how you can find him innocent. Mm-hmm. Well, because you can't find him guilty of murder because he's got other charges because he's a piece of shit.
Rapist doesn't make him a murderer.
That's the problem, and especially he hasn't even been convicted of those yet, so you can't. So Gibbs's brother-in-law, though, Steve Etienne, says that Gibbs was wrongfully accused and that Gibbs was devastated he wasn't acquitted. He said Gibbs was the target of a rush to judgment, and authorities who investigated Mindy's killing, quote, "did less than a great job to get to the bottom of this."
You're allowed to say that.
That you can say. He said, quote, "There's a killer out there, and pinning it on my brother-in-law, I think it's just wrong."
Okay.
For the jury to come back with this verdict, there is obvious doubt. It really puts us in limbo because we don't have any closure. When you're being accused of something like that and your life is on the line, the jury did the best they could to either come up with a conviction or come with a not guilty, and they couldn't come up with it.
The bummer with saying shit like that after that is that he's justified, but if it goes the other way next time, you look like an asshole.
Well, you're still arguing against DNA evidence, which is kind of weird.
Too.
That's kind of weird. Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Gibbs's sister, Breeze, said, quote, that they need to reopen the investigation and find out who really did it. And then her husband said they need to get back on the horse and ride again, which is a very North Dakota thing to say.
He fell down once. Get back on that horse. Try again.
Yep. So that is fucking amazing. Now, people in New Salem are all freaked out. One guy who runs the counter at the farm supply store said, "We kind of thought this was going to happen. It was taking too long."
Oh, farm supply.
Courtroom expert and counterman at the farm supply store / he said that this guy, Rick Klatt, he said he saw the Morgensterns come into the store on occasion, and employees and customers had discussed the case in passing. They felt the jury must have been having a hard time getting to a unanimous opinion. Well, no shit.
Yeah, clearly.
Jesus Christ. A relative of Morgenstern here, Marie Hansen, said some parts of the trial have mystified her. What fucking part is...
Mystified.
Yeah, she said the defense attorney's assertion that Morgenstern could have picked up DNA, Gibbs's DNA, from using the same doorknob to get in the apartment building. She said, there were a lot of things that were brought up that make you wonder. But I mean, DNA on a doorknob? Come on. Not that much, anyway.
It's there, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Under the fingernails, too, scraping the doorknob. Yeah. So
it's not like a vat of DNA that she reached her hand into.
She dipped it in and she went bobbing for apples in a DNA barrel of
his DNA.
Just his DNA. It took him a while to make that much. I'll tell you what. It's a lot. But she also said that she felt Gibbs was guilty because of the DNA, but she said many questions were raised by the trial that gave her room for doubt even. This is her friend, Mindy's friend. She said, I'd have hated to be on that jury. I don't know one way or the other. Okay.
Really?
Wow. That is fucking interesting. That's Ashley Coons' mother, Sandy, said, quote, she runs the family hair care on Main Avenue. Yeah. She said, I just think God has a plan and we're just not going to second guess it.
Is that right?
What's the fucking plan here?
You don't second guess anything?
I think, what I just let everything. So that's anything then.
It's
you could
God's
say that
will. That's what we got to do.
Jesus Christ. One of her friends said that she's hoping for justice in the case against Gibbs. She said, quote, if the good Lord says he's innocent, he should be proven innocent. If he's guilty, he should be proven guilty. I would wish him luck, but I don't know if he deserves it. Are these the nicest people? Yes. We just give everybody the benefit. We don't. He said he's fine. He said he's not a murderer or anything, so let's hire him.
It's God's will.
It's God's will. The DNA could be like these people just give everyone benefit of the doubt. I want to move here. You can get away with anything. These are people who you'd be like, the mafia doesn't exist. And they'd be like, I didn't know that. Thanks for telling me. And they tell everyone, I heard the mafia doesn't exist. Like they're just real gullible.
Yeah.
Wow. So the judge reaffirms his decision to postpone the trial of Gibbs involving the assault of the jail inmates. Okay. The rape of the jail inmates until after his murder trial. October 2007, second trial. Okay. Same judge and lawyers, by the way.
Is that right?
So, it's a redo of all redos here. Okay. They said during Gibbs's counsel's cross-examination of Dale Makesner, an agent for the Bureau of Criminal Investigation of North Dakota, Gibbs's counsel asked him about statements made by Gibbs during the videotaped interview. He said, quote, and Gibbs wasn't concerned about your accusations that you were making, was he? And the answer was he wasn't concerned at all. So, he wasn't concerned at all was the answer there.
It's fascinating.
And they said, in fact, he could. He told you more than once, you and the other agents, you can talk until you're blue in the face. He said more than once, you can talk until you're blue in the face, and it's not going to change my statement that I wasn't there and didn't have anything to do with this murder. Isn't that right? Uh-huh. And the agent says, yes, and that's what I'd expect from a street smart person. Right. Just someone who's been arrested a whole bunch.
He continues denying it. That's wild.
Yeah. And the lawyer says, well, that wasn't part of the question, which is fucking hilarious. So 2 days into the trial, Gibbs just out of nowhere says, I want new attorneys.
Oh, for God's sake.
Judge, can I get new attorneys? And the courtroom said, fuck no, you cannot. We're in this trial. They represented you. You got to see their work for a whole trial, and then you rehired them. 2 days into the trial, now you can't fire them. Fuck off. So again, DNA, they're talking about no usable fingerprints. The defense is trying to make a big deal out of that. They said there was 7 usable fingerprints found in her apartment. The prints did not match Mindy, Gibbs, or her ex-boyfriend or her brother. So, but she's a college kid. There's probably people coming in and out all the time hanging out, a couple of friends over. That's just what happens here. When you're young, you just have friends over if you have your own place. Who doesn't, Yeah. So they said we process a lot of evidence for fingerprints. Sometimes you get lucky and find some. Sometimes you don't find any. They also talked about a piece of carpet taken from Gibbs's apartment, which had seen footprints. They saw footprints on it when they sprayed the surface with luminol.
Yeah.
They said they sprayed the carpet with luminol, but the entire carpet glowed, and he didn't see any footprints. They said they saw it at first, but then they didn't after that. So they got another guy who testified to doing mitochondrial DNA testing on a piece of hair found in her hand. They explained that it's passed down from a person's mother, thus siblings with the same mother have the same mitochondrial DNA. The hair was tested for that, but did not contain nuclear DNA, which is less plentiful in a cell and unique to each person. So that nails it to a person rather than a whole, just a bloodline. He said the test excluded Gibbs and Mindy as the source of the hair, and they said there's no database for mitochondrial DNA at the time, so they said it does not determine the gender either of the sample. So they don't know. They bring them in. There's so much DNA stuff they're trying to find. They're trying to get Dr. Michael, is it Baden or Baden? Baden. That guy who had the show and all that shit.
Yeah.
That's the guy they tried to hire.
Okay.
This guy agreed to reduce his standard retainer to $6,000, which is the same retainer he charges to indigent defendants in other states.
Dr. Michael Baden?
Yeah, he'll do that. So that's the state will pay for that.
Yeah,
so,
$6,000.
because if the state has an expert, the defense has to have an expert. So they said once his potential involvement was secured, they contacted the commission to get the funding. The funding was only secured for half of his reduced retainer, and he wouldn't lower it. So his services were lost, and he was not able to get the services of a forensic pathologist as a defense witness to counteract the state's forensic pathologist.
Okay.
So, apparently they sent it indicated several areas that the state's forensic pathologist did not address. They said so they tried to say Dr. Baden would have said this. Yeah. This was his report. They proposed the testimony also refuted the state's evidence as to scratches on Gibbs' hand, wrist, as well as defensive wounds found upon the deceased and the anticipated wounds that would have been left on the perpetrator. The defense arranged to have another guy, Birch Henry, Ph.D., and Thomas Wall, Ph.D., forensic DNA analysis experts testify in the defense of Gibbs. They're developing a DNA analysis lab at North Dakota State University. Their anticipated testimony would have put into context the 1/1000th of a gram of weight of DNA that was found under the fingernails. They said that would be the issue, a small amount of DNA. Mm-hmm. They said the deceased's use of bleach in cleaning the restaurant where she was employed, as well as her hygiene, would have provided testimony with regard to discrepancy in the ratio and quantity of DNA. And it's all very technical shit here. So that's how that goes. Now they talk about transfer DNA. Guy talks about secondary transfer DNA, which is a thing that comes up a lot. DNA, they talk about any fluid is capable of being a source of DNA. Very large quantities of DNA, obviously, in your blood, tears, mouth. Yeah. They said the greater amount of DNA, the greater possibility of transfer from one to the other. Based on experimentation in his lab, they said studies have shown that basically DNA transfer is a very quick process typically. We use 30 seconds just as a convenient way of doing it. The tests found about a nanogram of DNA in a 30-second interaction. He concluded that based upon transfer from various sources, it's critical that the source of DNA, the amount of DNA that gets on fingers, hands, or whatever, becomes very significant in this transfer process. So you need to have a whole bunch to transfer any.
Right.
They said DNA is transferred to a person's hands. If you don't wash your hands, it can be transferred to another individual or surface. And, so he explains that the touchery transfer is the transfer of DNA from one person coming in contact with their DNA and transferring it to clothing and other objects. Yeah. He said that lower quantities of DNA are more easily transferred than higher quantities of DNA, obviously. It's easier to get a little on than a lot. And a lab would have a better understanding of the mechanism of transfer if they know the nature of cellular material. They said picking up an object, i.e. a plastic laundry basket, because that was his claim. Yep. This guy went on to say that 30.8 nanogram transfer of DNA from Gibbs to Morgenstern's fingernails would be more than a kind of coincidental casual contact.
Yeah, you can't get that from a doorknob.
He said that's a primary transfer. That amount is a primary transfer, not a laundry basket transfer or a doorknob transfer.
That's skin cells.
He did concede that cases have existed where the victim was not the major contributor of the DNA found under the victim's fingernails, or the perpetrator wasn't he said there, and thus there is a potential way for secondary transfer of DNA to happen. So they said that also, that was his opinion. It's all opinion. Yeah. They asked his wife, when you saw him, did he look frazzled like he just got done killing somebody? The defense attorney asked. She said, no. That's good.
That's scarier.
It's helpful. Yeah, he just looked fine. Yeah, that's even more terrifying. They also found through his computer that MSN Messenger had been started on the computer at 1:07 p.m. and activity on the computer continued throughout the afternoon. Mm-hmm. But on cross-examination, they said it was possible that all of that activity between 1:07 and 1:53 could have been going on without a person sitting at the computer.
Really?
Yeah, it was open and people were, shit was going on. That activity included automatic updates by computer programs and people trying to chat with Gibbs who were ignored. So he didn't do anything
he wasn't
back.
Even there.
So he could have just been open. MSN Messenger, he just might not have a screensaver on or whatever.
Yeah.
MSN Messenger may be able to set up, can be set to automatically ignore other users, and it can be set to automatically sign a person in without entering a password when the computer's turned on. The defense tried to call in a guy who said there was images from videos of him when he was at the bank from September 15th where he doesn't have scratches on him. So, he's looking at surveillance video through that rather than, that's ridiculous. So, second trial, these are the changes the prosecution makes. They called a forensic scientist from Connecticut to the stand. He told jurors about peer-reviewed studies done in his lab that showed the transfer stuff. We told you about that. Yep. They did not call the inmate, the guy who said he heard him say, I'd fucking do it again, because they think that might have hurt them because people didn't believe him.
Okay.
Because he just said, I just found Jesus all of a sudden after 20 convictions of shit, and now I immediately decided to be an honest person.
And these are God-fearing people. They don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah. They did not show a videotaped interview of Gibbs with law enforcement, the interrogation, the day of his arrest. The videotape showed him repeatedly denying any involvement in the murder. Jurors in the trial in Bismarck asked to see the tape after an hour of deliberations, but the judge denied the request because it had not been entered into evidence. Between the two trials, the state crime lab director Hope Olson also testified that residue on filter paper holding scrapings from under Morgenstern's left fingernails to see if it was blood, the reddish-brown substance tested presumptively positive for human blood. Olson said the test can also return positive tests for ferret, mink, or monkey blood. So if you're looking for ferret blood...
Yeah, she could have had it under her nail.
It could have been monkey blood. Listen, for all we know, the blood that they also found, they found DNA and blood. Yeah. The blood this could all be a monkey that did this, or a ferret. We don't know.
You know how rare mink coats are.
That could happen. Have you ever heard of a monkey when they go buck wild? They rip you the fuck apart.
They'll tear your whole fucking face off.
They'll break a knife off in your neck, I guess. I don't know. So that's the claim though that they're saying too. Well, it could have been a ferret. She wasn't handling ferrets recently.
A crazy ferret or a mink.
Crazy ferret. A DNA expert said the transfer stuff, like we said. The prosecutor then, in his summation at the end, said the defendant had changing stories as to where he got the scratches, who was there when he got the scratches, which we heard. He had a changing story as to when he may have been in the apartment, whether it was 1 day prior or 3 or 7 days prior.
Right.
Because he had different stories. They said he has a complete lack of explanation for the for why his blood was on her shirt, basically, and mixed in the DNA. And he said, is it a coincidence that the DNA and the blood are in the same spot at the same time, and there's no explanation as to whose blood it is other than his? Because Mindy did not have blood on her arms.
Right.
So they said also the defendant had changing stories to all of that stuff. So November 13th, 2007, case goes to jury.
Okay.
It is basically DNA versus whatever.
Versus, I didn't.
They deliberate for 27 hours.
Wow.
These people are just, they will...
Give them all the credit, James. They're doing it right. They're taking their time.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're up for something, boy, you want to have a North Dakota jury because...
they will weigh every piece.
Holy shit, will they really go over it with a fine-tooth comb. 27 hours, they come back with a verdict this time, though.
Is that right? They
have all agreed on one particular unanimous verdict, and they find him guilty of murder.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, sentencing comes around, and no matter what he says now, he's pretty fucked because he's already been found guilty, and the judge says, you, sir, may fuck off. Life in prison without parole.
No parole.
Life without.
Shit.
Yeah, that's a rough one. Yes. The parents, Larry and Eunice, said they're, quote, we're just glad it's over. It's hard either way. It's really difficult.
Sure.
Then, this is how nice Eunice is, okay? These people, I swear to Christ, are the sweetest fucking people in Morgenstern family. We adopt fucking orphans from Colombia and raise them, and we
and their siblings.
Their siblings. Well, she had a sister. Well, you got to bring her over. These are such sweet people. She said this, quote, God damn it. She said she felt sympathy for the Gibbs' family. She said
they're losing a kid too.
It's hard either way because there are two lives lost. Our heart goes out to his family. Wow. That is, most people are like, fuck them and fuck where he came from and fuck everything. I want to hear shit about that guy.
That has the same blood, Jesus.
Yeah, Eunice was in the courtroom every day, and she said it wasn't easy, that's for sure. The Lord helps us. He's our strength. So Larry said his first order of business was to call Rebecca, who couldn't be there today because she said she just was too nervous to do it. He said she couldn't come. She couldn't handle it. I'm going to call her and tell her how much I love her. So, yep, they said that the verdict was welcome, but it didn't necessarily make anything better. That's the thing. And that's the thing that people don't get. If you have a relative that's been murdered like I did, it doesn't help. That woman who killed my great-grandmother is still in prison now.
Yeah.
It was 33 years ago it happened or something, 34 years ago, and she's still in prison, and it doesn't help any. I'm not like, oh, well, good for it. That doesn't matter to me, honestly, either way. So she said, quote, she's not here. It doesn't bring her back. There'll never be another Mindy. So now he's got other charges against him. This isn't it for him.
The rapes.
6 rapes he's got going on now in different places. And one of them is the prison one is just the other one. Any rape is horrible, obviously, but to fucking have people in cages and have you be responsible for their well-being and to do that is disgusting. They can't even run away.
There's nowhere they can go.
They literally are not allowed to run away from you. That's insanity. So he will end up pleading guilty in all the rape and sexual assault cases. He's fucked anyway. And
just guilty.
He's got to. They have him dead to rights there, too. They have tons of witnesses in jail. All the girls are, all the women are backing each other's stories up.
Sure.
DNA from Fargo, from a rape kit that was performed. I mean, it's bad. So the woman, when he goes for sentencing, the woman who he raped in Fargo looked at him and did her victim thing, the impact statement. She said she hopes he remembers the sound of her screaming for help as he sits in prison for the rest of his life. She was only 25 at this time, so she was like 20 when this happened.
Jesus.
Yeah. She described the horror of waking up face down on a bed in June of 2004 to find Gibbs on top of her, arm around her neck, raping her. He's got a style. Let's just say that because that's what he did to the prisoners when they slept, which is disgusting.
Christ,
he's like fucking Richard Ramirez, this guy. He's like the Night Stalker.
Just puts them on their stomach?
I guess she was sleeping on her stomach, and that's how he attacked her.
Good Lord.
Yeah. She said, the pain was unbearable. I tried to scream but couldn't because his arm was in my mouth. She says, I bit, I kicked, I elbowed, and I struggled. He's twice my size, but I fought anyway. She said that Gibbs brought her to the apartment lobby and told her he had a taxi for her, but when she did not see one, she panicked. She said, at that moment, I realized that he was taking me somewhere else, and if I didn't escape, I was going to die. He said, I'll get you a taxi. Come on downstairs.
Wow.
And then he was taking her somewhere. She said that she then broke free and fled with her clothes partially torn off, barefoot, crying her eyes out, screaming, ran away. Somebody help me. Somebody help me. This is the worst nightmare horror situation. Not only does he break in and rape you while you're sleeping, he then is going to take you somewhere afterwards.
Oh, my God.
What a fucking nightmare.
Where the taxi? Where was he going to send her In a taxi?
Yeah, I'm going to send you away somewhere. Okay, but then
unless it was at his place and he was taking her.
I don't know.
Oh, that's
crazy. So he was, he didn't appear to react or even look at her as she talked. Prosecutors said that the woman's violent experiences and his 6 felony convictions for sexually assaulting 5 female inmates while working at the jail warranted receiving a prison sentence consecutive to the murder sentence, not concurrent. Gibbs's defense attorney disagreed. He said that Gibbs took the responsibility for his actions by pleading guilty and that a consecutive sentence would be like trying to punish Gibbs after he dies in prison.
Okay.
Whatever.
Why not?
He said, quote, "That's for powers beyond us."
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
He's a God-fearing guy, too.
He said it's about, we'll leave that to God there. The district judge agreed with prosecutors and rebuked Gibbs for destroying several lives. He said, "You have earned consecutive sentences."
Wow.
And he sentenced him to, "You, sir, may keep fucking off, 12 years in prison for the rape and 15, that'll run concurrent with 15 years for the inmate sexual assault." So hard 15 after life without.
All right.
Consecutive to the murder charge. So that is not, so even if he was to get the murder wiped away, he still is in jail for 15. So he appeals very quickly based on the fact that he wasn't allowed to spend more money on experts.
Yeah.
Denied. Fuck off.
Keep going. Yeah.
Keep going. So poor Mindy is buried at the New Salem, the Graceland Cemetery in New Salem, Morton County, North Dakota. And that guy's still in prison. And here's the thing. Mm-hmm. Are we positive he did it?
I think so.
Close, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's good for it. That's for sure.
That's the thing.
Everything lends to it. Yeah.
Yes, but if you're at a trial and you don't know about all that shit, all you have is
murder.
He's Mo. He worked here and here, and they think he killed him. Here's 30.30 nanograms of DNA, and that's what is he guilty?
Yeah.
Maybe.
The DNA part. He said that he did. He said he's never been around her, and that is a primary amount of DNA.
And then he said he was around her, and then he switched what days he was around her.
Right, and you can't do that after being presented with the evidence, though. And that's the only reason he did it, is because they told him he had his DNA. Yeah.
Problem is the DNA, there's 2 other male DNAs on the knives.
DNAs.
It's a lot of DNAs.
Yeah.
But
he also wore gloves, so he wouldn't have his DNA on the knives.
That's the other thing. He had gloves. There's rubber gloves, and the point is maybe he realized this time if this woman's fighting and you can't make it happen, let's make sure nobody tells on me.
If the situation dies, then nobody can talk. Yeah.
So there you go, everybody. Yeah. That is Valley City, North Dakota. An abnormal ass place and an abnormal ass case. Yeah. That is some wild shit. I don't know. Let's hear your opinions. Hit us up there. Yeah. We are obviously at Small Town Murder on Instagram, Facebook groups there, Small Town Pod on there. Let us know how you feel, because I have a feeling there'll be a lot of discussion about this one.
Yeah.
So definitely kick that around. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com right now. First of all, every bit of merch you could possibly want. Everything from shower curtains to coffee cups. We got it all. And you definitely want tickets to live shows this year. All the dates are available for this year. Well, all but 2, because they're sold out.
Yeah, right.
Their tickets are in November. There's a show sold out. Tickets are flying. So get your tickets now if you want them. Minneapolis, talking to you, are going to be our biggest show ever if you sell this out. You can beat Chicago and be our biggest show of all time. Sacramento, April 5th. San Francisco, April 6th. You're on deck. You're up first this year. Let's have awesome shows. Get those tickets right now. We cannot fucking wait. Especially get Boston and New York. They're going fast at the end of the year. So do that. That's good stuff. Shutupandgivememurder.com. You certainly want to hear our other shows, Crime in Sports, which is fucking great. I'm sorry. It's a goddamn hilarious show, whether you like sports or not. Check it out. Yep. And then Your Stupid Opinions. I'm sorry. I'll say it. It's the funniest podcast on the internet.
It really
if you don't agree, I guess you disagree, but then we disagree. So that's fine. It's hilarious. Check that out. You definitely want to get Patreon as well. Patreon.com/crimeinsports is where you get all of your bonus material. So definitely get there. Oh, before I get to that, though, February 22nd.
Yes.
Tickets go on sale for the 420 virtual live show.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait. Just like a regular live show. Lots of funny shit, pictures, murder, but more fun because we're wearing stupid costumes and smoking a bunch of weed. And I'm going to make Jimmie smoke out of crazy stuff. Patreon.com/crime and sports. $5 a month or above. A mere cup of coffee, people.
Oh. Cheaper than. Jesus.
Cheaper than. We'll get you. Yeah, if you want stuff in it, get the fuck out of here. It's going to be more than that. We'll get you a couple of 100 back episodes to binge on of bonus stuff that you've never heard and new ones every other week. One crime and sports, one small town murder, and you get it all. This week for crime and sports, we're going to talk about a mobbed up gangster football team owner from the 70s. Terrific. It's hilarious, named Paul Sasso. Then for small town murder, we're going to talk about Natalia Grace.
What
is child orphan or
what's going on?
Or a child disabled orphan or adult psychopath?
Yeah.
We'll talk all about it. How does the father cry like that? We'll talk about everything, that and more. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And you get a shout out at the end of the show, which happens right now. Jimmie, I would love for you to hit me with the names of the people who would never leave any kind of DNA on our corpses. Jimmie, hit me with that list right now.
This week's executive producer, Kyle Norweg, over there walking on the Tyne. Margaret Maggie Wadsworth and her long Bartley family lineage. Her brother's name, he's a Bartley the Fifth, James.
Wow.
There's a lot of Bartley.
That's a small town murder thing there, yeah.
And we've got a winner in the Bartley contest.
The Bartley sweepstakes.
We got to figure out.
No more Bartleys.
No, it took one day.
One day, the next day. Here's Bartley. We were like, all right, well,
just adopted Bartley. Here they are.
Hundreds of thousands of people. Someone must have been getting a puppy this week. You know what I mean? Out of all those people, the odds are someone had to
one
get
day. All right. Susan Turner, thank you. You're terrific.
Thank
Danielle
you.
Cormier, thank you. Alicia Podlasack Grant, thank you. Other producers this week are Peyton Meadows, writer, more Stephanie Addis. Bobby Digital won the Fantasy League this year.
Jesus.
Congratulations, Bobby Digital.
The RZA took it home, huh?
Sure did. Rebecca Sorensen, happy birthday, Jessica Bailey, Janice Hill, Ellen Hayden, Kate Osgood, Kelly Ray Dixon, Kenneth Hatfield, Tim Smith, Megan W., Leah would know last name, Jesse Baker, Darius Gaddy, Alicia Saft, Sarah Duff, Chris Marble, Lauren Evans, Sandy Laura, Kim DeLucia, Michael Sissone, Viviana Cohen, Skull Beard would know last name, Laura would know last name, Melly Fry, McKenna Lanquist, Tara Eckert, Amanda Richardson, Megan Hillman, Julie Rio. How do you say Rious? Is that Rio? Rio. All right. Lenny Lenartz, Corey Giesbrecht, Coles Renee, Travis Shape, Penelope Suriel, the Robbie Sullivan, Trevor Rimmer. Oh boy. Cade, Cade, C-A-D-E.
Oh boy.
That is two different words. Jonathan Juriaquek, Jureki, Wendy Friedland, Sarah Zemensky, Saoirse Erickson, the Ovarian Barbarian. Very funny. The
Ovarian Barbarian.
Randa Gates, Taylor Simmons, maybe. Elizabeth Cohen, Patch 686, Sherry Eisen, Jody Smith, Amy Adams, probably not that one. Sarah Lasher.
Sure it is.
It's got to be. Benjamin Heathstand, Lily Mongold, Summer Cohen, Alyssa Gates, Kim would know last name, Edmund Cantrell, Nancy Pace, Tommy Jr., Terry Curse, Sherry Rigari, Rigamortis, Andrea McAllister, Jay would know last name, Hannah Duckbill, Dylan Johns, Maria would know last name, Taryn would know last name, Mindy Lambert, Emma Warzencroft, Ann Picard, Lou M, Chris Hurd, Jack Morgan, Bailey Amy Woodward, Wrenching Rock, Ratch. Wrenching Ratch. Brittany would know last name.
Ratch?
Christina Elmblad. Ratch, R-A-C-H.
Rach.
Maybe it's Rach.
It's not rash, though. We know that. Okay.
No, it's not a rash.
Okay. That's
but
weird.
I've gotten a wrenching rash.
it's a
Lindsay
wrench of a rash.
Chapone, yeah, it's the brake cleaner. Michelle with no last name. Oh, and starting fluid, that shit does it too.
Oh, that'll burn.
It'll dry your skin out, motherfucker.
Fuck your world up, boy.
Oh boy, Michelle with no last name. Kelly Parker, Heidi Bondi, Brittany Early, Amy Cash, Jacqueline Osterman, Grant Metters, Wendy Normando, Dustin Purises, Hannah Branson, Samantha Allegedly
you're Samantha, but maybe not.
That's what I'm told. Natasha Sage
Hear
El
things.
Balsma. Kyle Percy, Matt Eberhard, got Eberhard. Is he Eberhard?
Forever hard.
He has 2 patrons. Thank you so much.
Why,
Matt,
thank you.
Or
Jesus.
Matthew. Duran
One for his
Stacy.
dick, because it's always hard.
He's Eberhard. Raz Mataz, Reagan B, Marie Jubenville, Ashley Parker, Jordan Miller, Miguel Cordozo, Les with no last name, Colleen Forbes, AJ Prime, Caroline Hall, Adam Voorhees, Tanner Pipkin,
Jason's brother.
Keith. Big brother.
Yeah. He's a little
Keith
shade.
L. Jeffrey Thompson, Trixie with no last name, Jacqueline Guzman, Danielle Steele, probably not that one. I wish it was
And
that
Trixie, I'm
filthy
sure
writer.
it's Mattel, obviously,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's
Probably,
Danielle
yeah.
Steele and everybody. We get it. Amy Adams, you're all coming for us this week. We
Big
understand.
fans. Joe Reeves,
fans.
Lily M. Seventh Falls, Tanner R. Tabitha with no last name, Fellows Farm, Sam Jocelyn, Melanie with no last name, Cassie with no last name, Brad Wharton, Angelina Kemp, Jesus Varela, Weta with no last name, Galveston John, Becky with no last name, Amariah Weingartner, Kathy Heslip, and all of our patrons. You guys are amazing.
Thank you, everybody, so much.
Yeah.
You wonderful, wonderful people. We cannot tell you how much we appreciate all that you do for us. Honestly,
Yeah.
that shit's the lifeblood of everything we do. So thank you so much. It really, you're the base, and we love you.
Truly.
So thank you so much. If you want to follow us on social media, real easy to do. Just head over to shutupandgivememurder.com, drop down menu. All that shit is right there. That said, thank you so much for joining us. And until next week, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
It takes one guy out there to say, who's that Kyle who thinks he can just get on a microphone on a podcast and start publicizing this?
From iHeart Podcasts and Tenderfoot TV comes a new true crime podcast, Crook County.
I got recruited into the mob when I was 17 years old.
Meet Kenny, an enforcer for the legendary Chicago outfit.
And that was my mission, to snuff the life out of this guy.
He lived a secret double life as a firefighter paramedic for the Chicago Fire Department.
I had a wife and I had 2 children. Nobody knew anything.
People are dying. Is he doing this every night?
Torn between 2 worlds.
I'm covering up murders that these cops are doing.
He was a freaking crazy man.
We don't know who he is, really.
He is my father, and I had no idea about any of this until now. Welcome to Crook County. Available now. Listen for free on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.